2, 1. What's up, everybody? We are here. You're watching Young Lion TV.
Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, won't you get up and stop fighting? Everywhere I look, they're hiding.
Ba-da. What's up, everybody? Yes, we are here, Young Lion TV, and if you haven't noticed, the guy sitting right next to me is finally back.
That's what John just said.
John just said James is finally back. Yes, we finally got his butt back here at the table with the Young Lions. We are here at True Sound Studios. It's Tuesday night, so you know what that means. It's time to talk some shit.
Discussions.
Yeah, we do this.
Shit.
We do this anyway. Every time we get together, we talk a bunch of shit, and so we might as well just do it, and everyone else can join in the conversation. So make sure, if you guys are watching, make sure you share this stream. Please share it and like it, and get the word out there so that people can hear about the conversation and they can see it, because the algorithm, we need you guys to share it, like it, thumbs up, all that good stuff. If you're watching it on YouTube, you can subscribe to our channel and you can like it, give it a thumbs up, and leave us a comment or whatever. Make sure you go to our Patreon and support the Young Lion TV. You can become a Young Lion member there, and it's a small subscription, or you could just donate to the podcast if you want to, and we can continue to grow and give you guys better content, better streams. We're trying to upgrade all of our equipment. The Wi-Fi here is terrible, so once we get that better, I think our production value will go up a lot, right?
Yeah.
Also want to give a shout out to all the people here. We got, of course, the half black, half Indian brother right here, Mr. James Garcia, Mr. Build Right himself.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good.
He's doing good. Then, of course, we got my brother Jake Evans.
Yeah.
Jake Evans III, who just found out that he has a plot of land in Dunn, North Carolina. That's waiting to be claimed.
That I owe $1,300.
Yeah. Just found that
Pay your
out.
taxes.
Ain't paying your
Pay
taxes,
your
brother.
taxes, bro.
How many acres?
I don't even know.
0.3.
From who? Your dad?
My
Yeah.
grandfather.
Okay.
Jake Evans,
Quarter of acre.
Senior.
It's-
Yeah.
That's a good amount of land.
Yeah.
It's not nothing crazy, but
Yeah.
And we got the brother Simone Chang all the way
What's
on
up?
the fourth seat there,
USA. Oh, wrong side.
rocking the USA.
Huh?
You're supposed to look at the camera, not the TV.
Yeah.
You're looking at yourself.
And we didn't plan to wear soccer jerseys, even though I wore this for the second day in a row.
Yeah, you were wearing that yesterday.
Hey,
I wasn't
man.
going to put you on blast. And
put
last but
myself
not
on
least
blast.
is the wonderful producer / director / engineer / helping out any way she can, Miss Rachel Rota. And we don't have a Rachel Cam today.
No Rachel Cam.
We're working on that. She doesn't like the angles we were using, so we're gonna figure out a better way to get.
Stop blaming it on her. I mean,
That's part of it.
I would like there to be a cohesive desk situation
Yeah.
so that when I'm on camera and producing and doing everything I need to do, I'm not over here looking like a crazy person.
Yeah.
So we're working on
Looking like a 1920s phone
like
operator.
the guy-
At the switchboard.
the tiny guy inside your brain
Yeah,
operating
right,
everything.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so eventually we'll get that back. But yeah, that's it. So let's talk about what's been going on, man. We had a good time yesterday at Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah. Especially me and Jamie.
Oh, we were killing it. We had a little badminton game going, and me and Simone were the unofficial champions of the day. We were killing it.
They were on the same team, first of all.
Yeah, but that just happened randomly, right? We weren't on the same team at first, right?
No, we weren't.
Okay. But
I don't
you're
think
still
we
on
were.
the same team.
But once those stars aligned and we ended up on the same team,
We was killing them.
we just started killing them. Stan's watching right now. He got some of this yesterday.
I was playing with mom, so
Mom is super competitive though.
Yeah, but
She was good.
Yeah.
she's all right.
But she was actually good.
She's all right.
She was good.
You all right, Mom?
No, Mom helped
James-
you win.
No,
James
Mom was
is
getting in
sneaky
my
good.
way, dude. She was straight hitting stuff right in my face. Like, really?
Yeah, James.
Mom?
James was
Yeah, he
trying
didn't even
to
wanna
get out of
play.
playing the whole time.
Yeah.
And then
No, James
finally
is doing pretty
he came in as a ringer, killing it over there,
Still didn't beat us.
That's
though.
from catching mangoes in the Caribbean.
swatting flies.
Yes.
He just pretended the birdie was a big mosquito, and then he got the concept of the game. Yeah, but it was fun though. Like,
It was a good time.
yeah,
It was supposed to be just a casual family.
it never
It
happens.
never
that way.
happens. If there's games involved, we
Well,
always-
even the fact that it was supposed to be only like a couple people at first, and then it just turned into everybody coming over.
Which
to
is
my
good
house.
though. You need stuff like that.
Yeah. It's good to get the family together.
kids
and-
playing.
yeah.
I mean, I always know if it's over Jamie's, it's going to be more than what he says.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't.
Wasn't that much more, but I'm just
Right.
saying, like, you always know
Yeah.
anybody can show up.
Yeah.
If anybody knows Jamie can never just cook like one specific thing. He has to go to like Wegmans and look for Gruyere and mushroom.
or roast
These
some
mushrooms
garlic
are-
Yeah,
and
yeah.
make some.
These mushrooms are from Spain in the Black Hills. Yes.
And no one appreciates it anyway.
No.
I appreciate that green thing. He made this green. What was it like?
Garlic.
Roasted
Roasted
garlic sauce.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Cilantro.
I think collectively, all four of us actually can cook.
I think for all collectively, like it was mainly all four of us that did all the food.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Except but
Shaniqua
Shaniqua did
did
the potato salad.
salad,
Yeah,
yes.
which was good.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
good. It's pretty good.
Yeah. We know how to
Stan
burn.
did the chicken.
Yeah, standard.
We don't follow recipes. We all,
Never.
No.
Jamie is, I don't know about you guys, but living with Jamie and I are the same. Whatever's in the cabinet, that's what's going on.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
can never replicate
So when
the
people are
dish.
like, "Oh, can you make that again?" Like,
nah,
it's
it's
not
a
gonna
one
be the
time.
same.
That's what happened with the beef thing that I made.
Yes, I've been bugging this brother about it.
I think I had a party at my house one time. I got lazy. I didn't want to grill
Uh-huh.
the beef sticks. I didn't want to put the beef on the skewers. So I'm like, let me just put this shit in the pot. And then I was like, oh, let me put some coconut. And then he loved it.
Yeah.
And I never made anything
Never made
like
it
that
again.
ever again.
Yep.
That's how it is, man. I try to like remember what I put in stuff, but it's just always because I'm always just going off the cuff. So
Yeah.
it's never going to be exactly the same. It'll be close, but
That's
it'll never
the
be exactly.
beauty of cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
feel.
that. I like creating. I don't like following recipes. You know.
No, I always like Leslie always laughs at me because I'll look like how do you make this, and I'll just look at the basics and then I'll
Yeah.
like look at it. Okay, got
Yeah.
it. Like
Yep.
I got the
Yeah,
basic.
you look
and then
at
you just do whatever you
I'll
want.
look up in a recipe to see what they put in it.
Yeah.
But then I
you
just
modify
I flip it my
Do
own
whatever
way.
you wanna do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This would
Gotta
taste
have
better.
like a little foundation.
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
you build off.
Exactly. But speaking of the badminton competitiveness, Moan sent that video. I want to play that because that thing was hilarious. That thing, like, it pretty much sums up every time we do anything.
We are very competitive.
I think it sums up how people look at us.
Yeah.
Because
We don't.
the
Plus,
women,
they
every
make
time.
up the rules as they go along.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, no, we establish the rules as we go.
embellish the rules.
But look, do you have that video? The one from the
it's in the comment.
it's in the group.
Listen,
from
I'm
today's
glad
thing.
that Juanita stayed sitting
Yeah.
and was not on Simone's team.
Yeah, there's been some volleyball games that have almost ended their marriage. Look, their volleyball fights
Almost
get us in
ended our
trouble,
marriage.
right? They get us in trouble. Like, you
Thanks,
ever
Mo.
treat me like that? I'm like, what? I have nothing to do with that.
Baby, Moan's crazy. I love you, girl.
Now we got to get in because you messing
Yeah,
us.
because you acting crazy.
Listen, dude, calm down.
Yo, I've never, like, growing up, I wasn't as competitive as
It's us.
since I met you guys.
So we brought that out of you.
brought it out of me, man. You
We've
really did.
always been that way from the beginning.
You guys just want to play this whole thing from the beginning?
Yeah,
The video?
yeah.
Okay, give me
Just
one
play
sec.
it because it's funny.
I mean,
Come on.
again, you look at our mom. Like
She is
you
competitive.
saw it.
Yo, she is.
Was your
Yeah.
dad competitive?
Yeah.
He was, but
Not
when
that.
I think about it, like my dad was.
He was a little more laid back.
He was more laid back. My dad was too concerned with appearing cool to be overly competitive.
Yeah.
because he was always self conscious of how his swagger looked.
Yeah.
So like he couldn't be too competitive.
And we kicked
Yeah,
that up.
yeah.
Like,
My mom, you could tell, like she gets so into it that she doesn't care how crazy she looks. Like, so I think we get that from
So
her.
your kids are
mostly.
gonna get that from you because my sister's like your dad.
Oh yeah. No, Aria. Well, actually, they're both very, very competitive, and they get very emotional.
Aria goes
over
hard.
games.
At least.
No, at least goes hard too. And if she loses, she gets upset.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've witnessed that.
Yeah.
So it's tough, man.
When
You're cheating.
yeah.
Started crying for something that she lost.
Yeah. I
think it was
forget
like
what it was.
at one of our birthday parties or something.
Yeah, there was a game and she
And I
lost.
ended up giving her something anyway because I felt bad.
Yeah.
No, he gets bad too. You see him hitting the racket.
That dude just
Every
wanted.
time-
He just wanted
he
to
wants
kill
to-
it.
Yeah, he's supposed to. Yeah.
He was not listening at all. Like,
Yeah.
yo, dude.
And mom's getting all frustrated.
Yeah, you can just play it. Hopefully, this doesn't get us a copyright strike.
I feel overworked. Do you want to play a quick game of ping pong?
Yeah, I got a few minutes. It'll be fun.
Yeah? Oh, are you guys thinking about playing?
So this is Moon right here.
I am a little overworked myself, and I wouldn't mind.
Wait, why is there a pyramid in the back with the...
Yeah. This
I'm
is
just gonna hit the ball around, no big deal.
What? Dude, don't say that. Respect the game. Come on, this is the game of kings. You know they found evidence of table tennis in Egypt.
Ancient Egypt, right? Not just Egypt.
We're playing doubles. You.
Oh, no, I'm actually
That's
good.
James right there.
Team, dude. Don't be rude.
Definitely James.
Go. Zach, you with me? All right, listen up, fellas. Tokyo rules. No aces.
That's James
That's
right
me.
there.
Okay.
That's me
No
laying out the
aces.
rules.
You're
In
looking to bring short
volleyball.
pimples to this greenwood. You can get the fuck out right now.
It's like ping pong.
You guys don't mind if I use my own paddle, do you?
No, that's fine. It's yeah.
Handcrafted by a legit motherfucking Bolivian guy, so look at this balance. Perfectly balanced. Dude, you gotta catch that. You're my partner.
Playing already?
All right. Sir! Yes! 0-1.
Wait, where are our paddles?
That doesn't count if you don't have your paddle.
Are you out of your fucking mind? Yes, that counts.
That
That
counts.
counts. This is not the YMCA.
It's not the YMCA. It's an office, man. If this is the YMCA, it'd be more official.
No, the point is there are no do-overs in the big leagues. Serve. Okay, that was do-over on that
That's
one.
Jake.
Did I say
just said it a second ago.
Tokyo
No.
rules, I don't know what that means.
Said Tokyo rules.
Tokyo rules. That was my moment.
Kendra's watching now.
Sir.
Kendra, we're
Yes!
saying this was us
Points.
playing
All right, guys,
badminton
Great effort. Let me give you
yesterday.
a couple of pro tips here. First, keep your eye on the ball. Second, when the ball comes over to your side of the table, hit it back. Okay. Also, you might want
That
to
was
grab some
Moan.
pads.
This is just supposed to be
Mom
a
would be
fun
on the other side of the
office
table.
activity. I think you're
Mo's the
taking ping
coach.
pong a little
Oh
too
my
serious.
God, ping pong.
That's what it's called. That's
Ping pong. It's not called ping pong, dude. It's table tennis, guys. Ping pong is an entirely different game. It's a game that's played by babies and ladies and gravies.
what's the gravy? I'm just not having fun anymore, so I think I'm just going to excuse myself.
You're taking this too seriously.
Derek
okay,
James.
guys? This is a
He's
game.
like,
You're
"Oh, I'm
acting
out."
like a little bitch.
See, that's
I think I'm done too.
You're not fucking done. If you're done, then this game doesn't go on the league count. So you're not fucking done.
what league? What's a gravy?
This is just like the Office Softball League. You know what I'm talking about. There were 8 players, then I joined. A couple weeks later, everyone quit. What does that tell you?
People stopped having fun when
That you have commitment issues. There's no integrity. Sir. Ow. Ow. Oh, great.
That's Jake. Always getting injured.
We should just go play Smash Brothers instead.
That's a good idea.
I'm in. 10-minute rounds. No Yoshis. Tokyo rules. Sir. Woo! Woo! Game. Let's go.
Yeah, that's funny.
Okay, so
We
we're
don't
not-
take it that far.
We're not that bad,
No.
but it is an exaggeration. First of all, why are those dudes so beta male though?
Yeah, they were.
Like, it just seemed like they were extra beta male-y, like those guys. It's like, no, like, alpha kind of personalities at all. I think like in the competitive thing like in a sense, you have to have some of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is funny.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Kendra said y'all were serious. Why didn't you join in on the game?
We weren't that serious. I was just playing around most of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, we were all playing.
Please, I remember.
Sometimes it takes stuff.
I remember when we played volleyball with Kendra and her church folk.
Oh yeah.
At their house.
I wish I was there.
Man, you want to talk about competitive?
Yeah.
They were. The pastor was up there cheating.
Really?
Cheating, yo. And it was, the game was terrible. The game was just like a bunch of, no one knew the rules. It was just,
But everyone knows the rules.
yeah, and everyone's just hitting the ball a million times. Yeah,
I didn't know the rules until Jamie told me the rules.
Yeah, I'm the rule guy. So,
Hansberger.
Hans is watching.
What's up, Hans?
What's up, Hans?
Kendra, you know I'm right. So let's say what's up to everybody in the chat. We appreciate you guys watching. Again, if you're watching right now, please give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and share the stream so that other people will see it. We need all the shares we can get because we're trying to build up the following of this podcast so we can get the Patreon going, get better stuff to you guys. And also comment in the chat if there's anything that you guys want us to touch on, want us to talk about. We've been kind of just talking about whatever comes to mind lately. I know there's some stuff that guys want to touch on today. You want to get into some of that?
Yeah, we can. Couple of social issues.
Well, Bredson's watching now, and Jay.
Abigail's watching.
Abigail, you guys, was that your first time meeting Abigail's boyfriend?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I met him a couple times before.
She finally brought him around.
That's good. But Abigail just left.
Yeah, she's like, all right, I'm out. Click. James's sisters have this tendency of hiding their relationships from us, which we don't understand why.
Because of my dad.
You think it's because your dad?
I think so.
Because you think that they're what is it about your dad that makes them want to hide that?
We were raised extremely Pentecostal.
Okay.
And I think my dad has, well, my dad. My dad has a way of kind of injecting God into everything.
Mm-hmm.
He's not as bad as he used to be.
He hasn't done that though with
not
Josh.
not with this guy. But my dad is. I have noticed that my dad isn't. How to put this? He isn't good at casual conversation.
Right.
It
becomes awkward a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you think that your sisters look at that and they're afraid that it's gonna, like, what's it gonna do?
He's argumentative.
Okay.
So he likes to get his point across, and he doesn't give you a chance to express yourself. He gets frustrated that you're not seeing it his way. He doesn't care about what you're saying.
You're right.
So they see that and they don't want to.
They would rather avoid it.
I've always had casual conversations with him, and we never.
No, listen.
I think it's.
With you guys, he's okay. He will have discussions. Maybe you a little bit more.
Yeah. I talk to him all the time.
But with us, it's different. Like people say, when I was growing up, I was the only boy. So people say, "Oh man, you must have it good." Nope. I had it worse than my sisters because I was more curious than them. And my dad is always, my dad. He's very stoic. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't.
Yeah, he is.
He doesn't have a. He's silly. He's silly with him.
He is silly, and especially with you. Every time you come around, he gets
he's
into
silly
his
with
silly
him.
mode.
He's silly but not with me. He doesn't like if we're working and Moan has worked with us before. Like as soon as he sees Simone, he starts joking around.
Yeah.
With me, nope. And I think because he doesn't. When I was a kid, I was very animated. I mean, I'm still animated now.
Right.
But I was more animated then, and he didn't like that.
Right. He wanted to tone you down a bit. Yeah. Because you were embarrassing.
That's weird though. Like I'm always goofy with him.
He was snowy.
So I don't know. I think that's part of it. I think, and my dad doesn't understand this culture. I remember trying to explain the prom and dating. For those of you who don't know, we moved here to the United States in 1995. So my dad didn't understand. He's 74. So he come from a rural part of Trinidad.
Right.
He didn't understand dating and the prom. So the way they...
Well, put that into more context, because talk about how your dad's concept of dating and like how he married your mom, like that whole thing.
He literally talked to my uncle about my mother, who lived around the corner from him, and he went and he approached her, and she said, "You got to talk to my mother." So he went to her mother, my mother's mother, and she said, "Fine." She said, "Write me a letter."
Like a formal letter.
And he wrote a formal letter. "I like your daughter. I would like to marry her." And that was it.
So there was no dating. It
There
was
was
just
no
like
dating.
he saw her as someone suitable.
Yes.
And he went through the process of, all right, how do I marry her?
And she-
then
my-
he had to write this formal letter. Right?
And my grandmother said, "Can you provide for her? Can you take care of her?" And
Right.
he said, "Yes." "Do you have a job?" "Yes." And that was it.
Did he have to like pay a dowry or anything like that?
No. Well, he had a place to put her.
Oh, okay.
And then he thought to himself, he's like, "You know what? I think this is going to work in America. I'm heading there."
That's exactly how he sounds, by the way.
So when we came here, all my sisters hid.
Right.
All my sisters hid their relationships. You know what I mean? But because of him.
It's out of fear of him scaring them off.
Him scaring them off, but my dad... my dating doesn't exist for my dad. For my dad, it's...
So he just doesn't get dating. So
He
it's
doesn't
like
get it.
the whole concept of dating guys and finding out someone, he's like, why are you doing this?
Right,
You're
yeah,
wasting-
exactly.
So to him, it's
Pick
like,
one.
pick one and get married.
Yes.
You know, and so them, rather than bring guys around, they're like,
Right.
we'll just hide it from him.
Yeah,
Do you think
'cause-
they don't want to be judged?
But that could be part of it too.
Because I see the same thing with my wife's family,
Yeah.
and they come from a rural
Part of Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
Well, yeah, you're
there's
right.
a
That
lot
is
of
a good point.
similarities between Leslie's sisters and your sisters in terms of how they're so like
Right.
family
Worried.
oriented and like they hide their boyfriends
Right,
until the
right.
very like
Kids
they-
are popping up, but we like can't explain it.
I mean, it's definitely differences. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
But there's similarities too.
But do they hide them from each other too, like the sisters and stuff? Yeah, because
'Cause they're worried
that's the
that-
other thing. Like, it can't just be your dad, because they hide them from us too. You know what I mean? Like they
but I'm
keep
saying
them.
Well,
that,
I've
that-
heard
that
that.
came from him
Okay,
because he hid his
yeah,
relationship.
that's true. Matter of fact, you know, he was out late on Saturday night.
Yes.
This dude got home like 1 o'clock in the
We're
morning.
in this love
I'm like,
together.
he came home like 1 o'clock in the morning, all dressed up, all spiffy, and me and Liz was looking like,
Got on
where
this
were
aqua
you
di-
at?
got on
He's
this,
dating.
Where were you
Digio.
at, bro? Yeah, but
Cool water cologne.
yeah. So I don't know. It might be.
So I've
another-
heard, like, you know, because I've been around, you know, your family and everything. I've heard your sisters say, you know, they're embarrassed by you. Like, you might say some stuff.
You know what it is? I don't think so.
Especially you two.
Well, he's joined in with me.
Wait, what?
yeah, I have heard that.
Yeah, I've heard them say that.
Say what?
Like, they're scared to bring people around because, you know, you might interrogate them. Like,
Oh,
But
okay.
please, when have we ever been those type of dudes?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
we're not.
I've actually been friends. Everybody that's been around, I've been.
Yeah, me and this guy hit it off right away.
Yeah.
Remember when Shelly was dating Brandon?
Yeah.
Another guy who wants to come on the podcast, by the way. So,
Yeah.
you know, eventually.
We were all
can-
friends.
Yeah, like he ended up hanging out with us more than her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think too. It's like in Caribbean culture. I can't speak for the rest of. I mean, I haven't lived anywhere else except for America, but I think it's shame attached to certain things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which comes from a little bit like judgment. You know?
Right. And here it's so different. You know, but we weren't allowed. I didn't go to my prom. I asked my mom, my dad, and my dad was like, "Why do you want to go to that?" I was like, "That's it. I'm not going." Done.
why is your Bresden is writing me in private messages? You could put this in the chat, bro.
Who?
His cousin. He said, your dad came as a man and asked for my aunt hand in marriage. Some of the family were not too happy because of him being a different race, but he is the best uncle ever.
No, and I completely agree with you. I don't think he's honorable for that. But that time, it's different now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, time and culture. Like
It's different now. You know, you can't really. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but my whole thing is I don't understand the so for them, someone like you, you're married, I'm married, and we've been in these situations for healthy relationships for a long time.
Yep.
And we know guys, and we know what to look out to spot in guys, and a lot of the times it's like the things that we see that we warn them about is only for their own good.
And one thing I want to add to that. We know these guys better than my dad knows.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That I don't think I love my dad. My dad is an excellent father and has done a great job. But he's out of touch with today's element.
He doesn't fully get the societal workings of American men.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So they need us in that sense.
Right.
I'm talking about your sisters. But the point is when they're avoiding bringing us around them, they're literally just prolonging, especially if they're in a situation that they shouldn't be in, which has happened, and all you're doing is prolonging the hurt or the heartache that's going to come because you are too afraid to be confronted with the truth about it. You know what I mean? So it's like if you're not going to bring someone around because you don't want to hear our mouth about the truth about the situation that you're in, it's like, but who's that hurting at the end of the day? And I used to tell them all the time too, even with their dad, because they have mentioned that they're worried that he's gonna, what are your intentions, and bring up God and bring up marriage and all that stuff. And it's like, okay, but
those are good things.
Aren't those things that
you away?
Aren't those things that you should want to know?
And in that respect, I give my dad full credit for that.
Right.
He is a man of his word, and he practices what he preaches.
Yes.
So I give him credit there. But for me, it's when I try to explain to him there's another way.
Right.
He doesn't want to hear that way. Like when I told him, Dad, I met this girl and I met her online, and I try to explain that to him.
Online dating.
He was so against that.
Right.
And he loves Shaniqua.
Right.
You know what I mean? They get along. Shaniqua's always been excellent with him.
Oh, she's watching.
Shaniqua's
right on time. She chimed in right when he started.
Right. She's like, he better say something about it.
Yeah.
And when I explained that to him, my dad didn't understand the concept.
Right.
My dad said, well, what if he came up with other scenarios rather than saying, well, son, I understand. Because I was trying to explain to him why it's hard for me or why I feel like I needed to go that route. But he didn't want to hear that. He was like trying to tell me, had you done this, you know what I mean?
You wouldn't be going through that.
And I was like, yeah, but it's not that I'm...
Meanwhile, him and Sandy.
secret.
And not only that, it's like all these issues, you know what I mean, that he don't want to tell us about.
James,
he was worried about.
You should have went to somebody's house that you seen that you liked and wrote them a letter.
Because imagine doing that nowadays. Going to their mom and writing a letter. Miss such and such, I am interested in your daughter.
911.
Dude, you would be on a...
You're crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe in Amish country.
Yeah. But even for you, it's like you and Shaniqua's relationship where it is now but it wasn't like it was all perfect in the beginning. So it's like for you to feel
But I
like
sort that out with everybody.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. For you to take the approach like, well, I need to hide this until it's perfect.
Oh,
you know
no.
what I mean? Like that's
I was a
ridiculous.
teller. I was
Right.
Listen, to me,
It's important.
My philosophy is this.
James,
Yes.
tuck into the shot a little bit.
Okay. This way.
Oh yeah, come this way towards me. Bro. Yeah, there you go.
My thing is this: if you're bold enough to say it, you should be able to defend that whenever and however. That's how I am. It's like if that's your philosophy. If you believe something, don't shy away. Don't say, "Oh, you put me on the spot." No,
Right.
defend that.
Right. Yeah.
Talk about that. If that's how you feel about something, I feel like you should be able to talk about it whenever.
Right.
And if you can't and you're shy about it because you don't know how it's going to blow over, don't give me no lectures by myself. And then when
in front of
everybody's around, you're
people,
like,
you don't want to talk. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Because to me, what it is, it's traits of bullyism. Because you're trying to bully me into believing what you believe because you convince yourself, but you're trying to convince me. But around other people, like, I need time.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
Right.
And that's how I've been in relationships. Whenever I feel like someone is pushing me to some ideal, I'm like, no. Like, don't push me. Like, her and I used to argue about restaurants and food and certain things. I was like, no, because you're trying to push your lifestyle on me, and if I liked everything that you like, then guess what I'd be? You're boring. You're not interesting. You like everything that I like.
Yeah. Why don't you make some choices? Be spontaneous.
Right. But I like what you like. So anyway, so I did tell my family things what were going on. I didn't look at it as gossiping. I mean, I never said. I always preface it that I did love Shaniqua, and Shaniqua's a good girl, but there's some things that I did, and I discussed it with the people that I love that care about me.
Because you know that bouncing that off of people that care about you is the best
and
way.
None of y'all, just to preface, none of y'all ever said, "Man, leave that girl."
Of course, because that's not for us to say ever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
I probably talk to you the most about it.
Yeah, all the time.
You know,
we always had our late night talks.
Right. But it's good to talk to another person that's not gonna. That you're hearing what I'm saying. You're giving me different angles, and we're kind of. But you're not trying to convince me of anything,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And with my dad would say, "Had you stayed in the church, and not go on." But we weren't. But the thing is, we were able to work out the situation,
right?
You know what I mean?
Had you stayed in the church, you could have had one of those single mothers,
single ladies,
the singles ministry.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
but I see that's like if you're too judgmental, that causes a lot of issues. You can't be too judgmental and just one-sided in the way you see things.
Yeah, and I work with my dad. I've been working with my dad now for since 2012. And for we've gotten closer, but we've also had way more explosive arguments because I could see that he wants me to see it his way. He's not interested in seeing things the way I see it. Even when it comes to religion or politics or certain things, when I've discovered certain things, and you guys, Jamie talks to me a lot about your dad and his political views and how you started it. You were trying to show him, hey, Dad, but look, this is what I found, and there's enough evidence, but he didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think fathers, especially for fathers, they struggle with that with sons because it is, I want my son to be like me.
Right.
I want my son to be
following
like me,
my footsteps,
me, act like me. And when they see that you're now a young man and you're like, no, I kind of want to, and it's a how dare you.
Yeah.
You know? It's out of fear that we don't say nothing when we're little.
Right.
Because I was terrified.
And ignorance because you really don't know. You're just kind of like going with whatever they tell you. Right. You know, but once you start learning things on your own.
I mean, I think as a father, you definitely have to be sure and definite in what you're saying.
Right.
But like my son just asked me something today, and I'm like, I don't know. And he said, but you know everything. Like, I don't know everything.
Yeah,
the things that I do know, I'm going to tell you that I know, but I don't know everything.
Yeah, kids have that thing where they think that you're, especially their dad, they think that they just know everything, you know.
Now, let me ask you guys a question because when I talk about my childhood, I'm going all the way back to the Caribbean. When I was little and adults were talking, we weren't allowed to be a part of the conversation. Mm-hmm. And we were always told, get out of here. The adults are talking. This is not for you.
That's one way that my dad was completely different in that way. My dad always tried to include us in the adult conversations, or he always would bring us in to adult situations,
or at least have us around.
Yeah,
right. I think I've now changed my mind where I'm not going to do that to Sophia. I'm not going to bring her on into heavy. Right. So anyway, those two over there were having an affair. Sophia, come on in.
Yeah. Let's get your opinion on this.
I'm not going to do that, but I think I've come to an understanding where I think it's important to allow children to express themselves. While you're talking, you should talk about the things that people say don't talk: race, religion, politics, which is we all talk. Don't talk about that. But then when they get older, that's why a lot of people are very scared and afraid. And it's okay to have an opinion about that, as long as your opinion doesn't mean that I hate that. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. So do you think that kind of translated into your sister's approach with your father, and because they really don't. They really don't engage with him that much.
It's not that. It's more his stubbornness to not want to listen to any point other than.
Okay, so they get frustrated.
I think I see it from me standing on the outside looking in. It's more like I don't want to say anything because I'm insecure of saying the wrong thing.
Right.
So I just wait. you
Right.
know?
Yeah. And he has a habit of not letting you speak. So that is, and through that has actually taught me that I need to pull back
Right.
too
Right.
and say, hey, all right, let me hear it out. I think actually one of the things I've become good at, and I learned this in my previous career when I was a loss prevention manager, whenever we caught shoplifters and we were catching a lot of associate stealing. And I did a class where they teach you, it was called Wickland and Zolowski, and they teach you how to pick up on certain things, how people are going to lie, right? So one of the things we would do is when we knew an employee was stealing, right, we would bring them in the office and we would give them a chair that wouldn't do this. 'Cause
Right.
when people get comfortable, they concoct stories, right? Because I'm nervous, so I will start thinking like, what can I tell this guy
Right.
that's gonna make him believe me? And people can quickly put narratives together. But if you have them sitting still and you take away all distractions, the stories become so quick and convoluted that they can't keep up with.
Right.
But you have to take notes on specific points. And then while they're talking, you're writing down certain things that they're saying that they can't keep up with. So when you ask them that again, that does not line up to what they
Right.
said at first. So
Yeah.
that class taught us that. So anyway, my point was what we would do is we would say to them, so I want to talk to you about some money that's missing from the till. So they already know that that some money is gone.
Yeah.
So they're trying to think of
They're already thinking of ways like,
what can I say? I let somebody else use my number. I said, okay. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever, like, what's the most amount you've ever taken? That you would ask them a flat out question right away. I've never taken anything, and then you would say, it isn't $10,000, is it? Never that much. Boom.
Yeah.
You got them because you don't jump in right there and say, aha, you said 10,000. I got you. You don't do that, but you give them such an amount that say they took $20, you go to like 500. You go to an exorbitant amount because they will never admit to something they didn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? So once they did that, then you would start building the story. And through that and through doing that and catching hundreds of people, I learned aggression doesn't get you result. Right. Tell me where the money is. I know you took it, you bastard. That doesn't get results.
Right.
Versus sitting down and talking to them. And that's what this class was about. It was about basically getting them to admit through words. Now you have to be a really good note taker. This is part of it. Where you can't, people love waiting for the setup question.
Right.
See, I got you. Husband and wife do this all the time.
Fail at it.
Right? But in this class, it's taking the notes to say, well, you said this, but then you told me this, and this doesn't line up with this. So can you explain that?
Right.
Can you make this bridge? And then I said that? Yeah, you did. You said it right here.
Right.
Okay. And now you already told them that they're being taped. So once you say these two things that line up and you need to bridge that for me, it's panic.
They panic, yeah.
Right? And I think a lot of people fall apart in arguments because they want to win so bad that they start yelling and screaming. They don't know. They can't keep track of what they're saying, And that's what I've learned. So whenever I have this conversation, I try to not fly off the handle and try to listen and then wait to,
Right. Right, because we've all had those conversations where you're talking to someone and you can tell that they're just waiting for you to finish and not even listening to what you're saying.
Yeah, they're not interested. And that's a big part of why relationships, whether it's between parents, spouses, or whatever, it doesn't work is because you're not actually listening to the person. Usually you can't wait for them to shut up so you can say your point.
Yeah, because you already have a preconceived perspective.
You want to get them
on the situation.
Yeah.
And it might not necessarily be true, but it's just the way you see it.
Right.
And you want to prove that.
Exactly.
And I realize that like in my own relationships, and it's like if I just press in because you're so wrong, like with my wife, if she says something that I'm like, that's totally not true.
Right.
But I can't just say that to her. I gotta let her talk.
Yeah.
And I gotta let her say everything she says and comment in a way where I can say it in a calm, loving way. You know what I mean? Where she's gonna receive what I'm saying. Because if I come at her just because I'm right, she's not gonna hear it. She's not gonna want to hear it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like people that think that just because I feel like I'm right or I have a leg to stand on here, that gives me the right to now be aggressive and yell at you or berate you.
Right.
Like that doesn't. No one wins. That's
Right.
where arguments just escalate. You know what I mean?
The point. It's like what you just said. Both of you guys, like it's about winning.
Right.
It's
But
about
in
winning.
a relationship, it shouldn't be about winning.
Right.
Because the win is us staying together
Right.
and working things out.
Right.
Right.
Well, one thing I want to make this correlation, and you guys can tell me if you think that have something, if I don't.
Okay.
I think one thing I've noticed about America is very sports driven, so there's a lot of competitiveness. So whenever you see people argue, like I watch some of the friends that I'm not gonna name anybody's name.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Some of the friends, I see how passionate they are about sports, and they're arguing, and they're and I'm like, wow, like that's something that's so foreign to me. People are just arguing. I think if you're not careful about that passion, that translates or will follow you in all the way you handle things. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
If you're not careful,
Because every situation becomes about winning.
Oh, I gotta
And-
win.
Right.
and then,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Example, so I'm wearing this Barcelona shirt. So we lost the Copa del Rey, right? That's one of
It's
the
all this
big,
wee stuff.
We.
Well, because I got the shirt on, but
Yeah, yeah.
Barcelona
Yeah.
lost the Copa del Rey. So we're playing soccer on Saturday, I think, and Joe,
Yeah.
one of these
huge
guys,
Barcelona
he's
fan.
a huge Barcelona fan, and we're both Barcelona fans. And I
Right.
say to him, it was something we were getting killed or whatever. I'm like, oh, like how Barcelona got beat,
Yeah.
And he said, too soon, man, too soon.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, you're really taking it that
Yo,
hard?
he was upset,
Yeah.
dude. Like when I got there, he started talking to me about it, and he just was like so upset about
and
Barcelona.
for me, like, I'm a fan, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to
That's
take
it.
it
But that's what.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's not.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know that there's reality.
Right.
My reality, I'm not a part of that. Like I
Right.
just said we, but
Yeah.
really it's not we.
right.
And how I'm trying to tie this all in is I'm saying if you're a kid and adults didn't bring you in to understand social situations and seeing how to have a discussion at a table,
Right.
and the table, we can all disagree, but at the end of it, we could be like, good discussion, man. And they just see awkwardness and weirdness. They're like, I'm never doing that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I could, dude.
Josh got up from that table and he ran away.
Yeah.
You can
We were having
Yeah.
a discussion with my dad. And
Yeah, we
got
were having a
heated.
talk with. It was me, him, and his dad. Well, it was
The
a
whole
table
table.
like this, and it was everyone was sitting at the table, and we started getting into a subject that was kind of touchy.
Yeah.
and
But it wasn't in that direction at first, right?
no, it kind of led into that direction, and he took this stance of, because we were talking about people that do what we were talking about, because we don't have to get specific. We were talking about people who you realize after the fact are just
Their intentions.
their intentions are to
Yeah.
be corrupt, or their intentions are like they may come in and present themselves a certain
Yes,
way.
yes, presentation.
It's manipulation to get you to like them, so that they can then,
Right.
do whatever they want to do, and then go on about their business, and they leave a wake of mess behind them. And he was. Yeah, that's a great example. But he was arguing with us about the fact that like it's the fallen state of men, and no one goes in with that intention. And we were trying to explain to him, no, there are actual people that intentionally try to manipulate situations, and intentionally will, like, for example, will intentionally try to marry someone. Will present themselves as a nice stand-up guy, and then get
Or woman, yeah.
yeah, or woman, and then get married, because they want to have that family, but then they're just doing their thing on the side anyway and don't really care. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah, they
people
never
that do
intended to be
they
faithful.
never
Yeah.
intended to be faithful.
But they present the image as
Right.
if.
Absolutely.
So that was the point. That's what and of course that is absolutely true.
Right.
People do that. People manipulate. Human beings do that. And yes, is it a part of the fallen nature? Of course.
So what was his
Mom heard you. She didn't hear us talking about her earlier, all her badminton craziness. But anyway, go ahead.
So I was just saying that
What was his stance? Like what was
his stance was, and I think it's because it was a specific person that is like close. You know what I mean? So it was like he didn't want to believe that someone that someone like that he knew could have that intention,
planned it.
right? Have
It
went
happened
in
because
with
of
that
fallen
intention.
nature.
You know what I mean? So he wanted to believe that it was just the fallen nature of man that somehow he fell victim to. Kind of, it was like that was his take. Like he fell victim to the fallen nature of man.
I mean, we
You know
can
what I mean?
say that maybe over time that could happen.
In certain cases, but but with this person,
Yeah.
and
There's a track record.
specifically,
There's a
it was
track
like
record,
there's no, like, you can't tell me that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because just look at their behavior pattern. You know,
You have to look at the history. You know what I mean? It's like when you go before the judge is paying attention to your repeat.
If you
your
had
history,
felony,
Right.
You know, and based on that is the sentences according
Right.
to how often you do this. You can't
Right.
tell him, oh well, you know, I messed up again. You know,
Yeah.
he's
Right.
looking at the history.
Yeah.
You know, but anyway, how
yeah.
I'm trying to tie it in is saying people are uncomfortable with discussions and heated discussions because kids see family get so heated and they never see the resolution.
right.
So they so
But
so
the thing,
what
the
they
thing
do
is, like, we weren't getting heated. He was kind of getting a little
yeah
in his feelings.
in his feelings a little
Right.
bit.
Right.
But that emotion started to just like everyone started leaving.
they were-
Like
yeah. Mhm.
it was like
Only
people,
Shaniko was left.
People couldn't handle the conversation, and,
Yeah.
and he was just laughing because Josh was like the first one to
He
appear.
took the plate up. He was like,
And that's funny too. I mean, that speaks to just how people just want to be comfortable
Right,
and in that
right,
nice.
right.
But it's good. That's where you get into resolutions and
Right,
you
yeah.
resolve things and you work things out and you get into deep things and
Right.
people grow closer together.
but
like
that's why I'm
And it
saying
stretches you
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
person.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. The tie is children seeing that we don't all have to see eye to eye, but can we respect each other enough?
Right.
Right.
I had that conversation with my wife. Like, I don't, like I told her, I don't want to, of course, we're not going to get into like crazy arguments, yelling and screaming at each other. But if we get into an argument where we're talking about something, it's okay to do it in front of our kids because I want them to see the end result.
Right.
Because we're always going to work it
Yes,
out.
exactly.
You know what
That's
I
a
mean?
good point.
And
And they need to see.
they need to see that. They need to see real love.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So so I used to say
process.
I never saw my
Right.
parents argue, but that's not reality.
Right.
That's not how you know. That's not true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They
Sometimes
did
just
argue.
Right.
them keeping that from y'all is not always as good as it
right.
seems.
And in a sense, when
Because
you don't see that, you don't know how to handle it.
Right.
Right.
And
You
it's
know
a
what I mean?
false sense of like expectation.
Right.
Something you're
Now you're
I
shooting
have to
for
live up to this.
Right. I have to be in a relationship where there's no arguments
Yeah.
ever. Yeah.
And if
So
I
I
have
married this
an argument-
cardboard box
Yeah.
because it doesn't argue with me.
or it's gonna be
Japan.
No, yeah, one of the dolls or something that just listens to you all
Or
the
in
time.
argue mode. But no, I was just saying, those to me, I see that there. I see the competitive nature of human beings, and in the United States, it's even heightened because of sports and competitiveness. Everybody's arguing. And then the other correlation is family, where the kids are not seeing the result. They may hear the parents talk about a brother, a sister, an aunt, an uncle, but they're not seeing the resolution. You know what I mean? So they really never understand that though we're disagreeing, we still love each other, but we're gonna work to fix this. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And you're open. Excuse me. You're opening up. You're sharing. You're being naked in front of somebody. So then you can't really. The shame can't stay there. And then you're not teaching your kids how to cover up their shame, but to
Right.
open up.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things. Like, we're talking about all this. I think that's kind of the root of it. It's trying to cover up what you're insecure about. You know.
Right.
Instead,
And that
because
even-
you have that example, you're opening up.
That even stems back to, you know, how that we all got on this about, like, about, you know, your sisters and like their approach to
Yeah,
relationships.
that's what I'm saying.
It's like, yeah, the fact of like wanting to cover it up because you're embarrassed in a way to expose, you know, whatever
Yourself.
you expose yourself and
Yeah.
your choice to everyone,
Right.
and so you feel like you're in a place where it's good enough. You know what I mean?
Because there's two, like, you can have no shame in a way where you just do whatever.
Yeah,
right?
I've seen the opposite.
Yeah.
I've seen the opposite.
Yeah.
And that's not good either.
Right.
So-
And I just want to say this: my mom, my dad didn't. All of my values came from them.
Right.
So everything that I've become or my sisters have become, I give them full credit for that. What I'm saying is this: I'm at an age of reason where I feel like I can look at that and say, all right, how can I add to this? And how can I advance my family so that the things that I saw that we stumbled in, I can sort of build. I know that I'm not going to make a perfect family, but how can I build to make sure that when I see those things coming, I'm not doing the same thing.
Right. And not only that, you honor your father. You honor that generation, because what they didn't see, if you see, and if your parents are still alive, you don't even have to say it. You live it, and then they can see it differently.
Right. And then I have to be honest with myself and say, when Sophia gets to a certain age and she sees something, I have to be willing to let her express that and bring it to me and say, Dad, this is what I found. This is what I saw. And me not tell her, nope, back in 1999, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Right.
And not do that to her, because that stunts her. Because then if I keep telling her, nope, I don't want to hear that in my time. Let me tell you how it was in my. If I keep doing that to her, she'll be like, you know what, forget it. I won't tell you.
Right. Yeah. And that's what happens. That's what happens. Then they just shut off and don't communicate with you anymore.
Right. We can't cut them off at the knees. We have to, okay, tell me about it. Like I told you before, if my daughter, I have a 1-year-old, so this is a while. But if my daughter comes to me and says, I want a pair of Jordans, I'm not going to tell her, no, we ain't got no money. But I want her to tell me why.
Yeah.
Who's Michael Jordan?
Right.
Tell me who he is.
When did you develop this love for the game of basketball?
Yeah, you like basketball? I'm gonna let her explain it to me, because I'm gonna show her you like it because somebody
told you it was cool. And once you get to that realization yourself, then maybe you won't want it as much.
But shutting her down and saying, you ain't getting that because we ain't got the money. You got money for Jordan? Right. I'm not gonna do that.
Like your impersonation there.
Here's an interesting thing I was just thinking about.
Yeah.
Jordan, right?
Right.
Do you think that the Jordans mean as much to the people who are wearing them now, like especially like maybe 15, 16-year-olds, compared to people like us who grew up as kids watching Jordan play?
No, it doesn't.
Of course not.
Now it's just a status symbol.
Right.
It's
something else. But when you speak about, like, they might not even equate Jordans to Michael Jordan.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It starts to become something else.
Right.
But those Jordans represent the glory days of Jordan. Mm-hmm. And we can speak about those things, but do you think the kids care about that when they hear us speak about it?
Right.
No, it's like a king who the Romans, they always fought like the huge Caesars, the ones who had the most power. They gained that power from glory, from winning on the battlefield. Mm-hmm. Right? The ones who didn't do anything, they had no glory. Right. You know what I mean? So they weren't a big impact on the nation.
Yeah. So they weren't as worshipped either.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And there were some who would even have to go back out to fight to get that glory back.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like
Gladiator, yo. What was his name? Had to fight Maximus to prove that he was worthy, you know, and he had to cheat though
what I'm saying is, you see in this younger generation, they're trying to pick up things to fight about. Like you look at civil rights, you know. Mm-hmm. They look at like Martin Luther King, whatever. Now people are just trying to pick a fight over everything.
Right.
You know, any little thing, that's racism. That's racism. Right? Yeah. You know, because they want to do something. Right. They want to have a fight. They want to have a purpose.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a natural thing for humans. Every generation wants life purpose. That's what it is.
Well, that's my point. What I'm saying is that, so the difference between like the father and the son, if the father starts to lose and starts just looking at what he did in the past, you start to lose that between you and your kids, because you're focused on your past. The kids are focused on the future.
Right.
And if you're still looking at your past, you'll never be able to see your future. It becomes
a divide.
There's a divide. Yeah. There becomes a separation.
And that's where parents lose their kids.
Right.
Because like I said, for me, I realize that I'm not going to just tell her no. Mm-hmm. There are going to be times when I tell her no.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to explain any further than that. But doesn't mean it's the end of it. I will come back to it when I have the time to sit down with you and say, tell me why. I want you to explain it to me.
Right.
You know? Because like you said, I want to point out to her, no, the reason you like this is if I showed you Michael Jordan, you wouldn't even know who he is.
Right.
You want this because somebody convinced you that this is what makes you somebody.
Right.
And I'm trying to show you that the shoes or the jewelry or the clothes is not. It's a shell.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'm thinking about Field of Dreams. You know what I mean? Like anybody watch Field of Dreams?
Yeah, I remember.
I haven't seen it in years.
Okay, well,
It's coming up. What is it? The 50th anniversary. They're going to show it in the theaters. Actually,
it's not the 50th anniversary.
it's something. Third.
Came out in like 1988.
It's some anniversary where they're
50
showing
years.
it. They're showing it in the theaters. And
Maybe
you can
that would
go
be
watch
what, 20 years?
No, like
30
30
years?
Or maybe it's 1989 or something.
Maybe it was 1989. Yeah.
But
30 years.
But my point is, the son, who was the main character, Kevin Costner, he didn't have a good relationship with his father, and he looked down on his father because his father gave up on life.
Yeah.
You know, and he was a good baseball player back in the day, but he didn't pursue it.
Right.
So you see, like, there was kind of this wedge, and the whole point of the movie was for him to get his relationship back with his father, even though his father was...
So his father died in the field. Like him building that field was a symbol.
Build it and he will come.
Right.
You know,
it was a symbol of him reconnecting that separation
the
that happened between
separation
him
of
and his
generations coming back together.
Right.
And that's powerful. And he said, you know, when they come together, he's like, his father says, "Is this heaven?" You know what I mean? And to me, it's just, but they're in the same place together, you know, and it's about that glory. What I'm saying is the glory that they're both in at the same time, and they can connect on.
Right.
That brings them both into a greater place. And I think with a lot of fathers, I know I always go to the Bible, but it talks about
as you should.
Well, it talks about how the fathers will turn back to the sons.
Right.
And the sons will turn back to the fathers. And I think that's a big thing with that, where to be able to see the father like there's something, to see the son see the father like there's something there that he has. And the son, I mean, and the fathers to look at the sons and say there's something there.
Right.
And he, you know, that they have.
Right. That I need to cultivate. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's something that I think is lacking that, you know, through our generation we're starting to see.
Well, there's another thing too. I was talking to my friend Dylan about this, and another thing that happens is I feel like one thing that I don't see is we don't have an ushering in or coming of age for young men, young children from adolescence to manhood and womanhood. It just kind of happens. So we don't usher them from.
We used
one
to though,
season.
right? We used to have that in our culture. It was like, you know, you would have these rituals throughout different cultures where it was like
a
once
bar
you-
mitzvah.
Yeah, like a bar,
But we don't-
or some kind of thing that people would do,
Right.
where it's like this. Some cultures still do that. Some
Some
like-
do. Some
like
do.
I'm talking.
I'm not talking
like-
about a birthday party.
No. I'm
Yeah.
talking about like, you know how like there's some like people that are like isolated tribes or whatever that like you still have to do certain things to prove your manhood, right?
Right,
Like
right.
you ever see the crazy ones where like they have to put their hands in these baskets with fire-eating
Yeah,
ants?
yeah.
You ever see that?
Yeah. I've
With
seen
like
that.
the most poisonous ants on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
planet
yeah.
and
Prove
like
it.
crazy stuff like that they have to do.
No, and I think
Didn't they do something like that in Ace Ventura? You ever see that movie?
Of course.
He was in Africa.
Probably.
He had to
I don't
prove
remember.
himself.
It's been so long. Yeah.
But I think that's what it is. I think we, with children, I think we're not ushering them in from childhood to the beginning. It's not like, oh, you're 10, you're 12. Tomorrow you turn 13. You're a woman.
Right.
No, it's prepping them for the process.
Right.
You're about to leave that stage and head into this stage, and I think we as parents they'll get it.
Yeah.
But the truth is, they don't get it. And if those bad habits aren't weeded out or trained, or they won't.
I think the problem is that even the parents don't have an idea of the things that they need to look out for.
That's definitely true.
Like it's just been a generation and generation of like people just like we'll figure it out. You know, it's like no one is looking for these things. No one is looking at their children and saying, all right, I need to squash that right there, or I need to nip that in the bud, or that could become a problem. I see like people aren't even paying attention to those things.
Exactly.
Oh, I see that group of friends right there. Like they'll do it in a way where it's like oh, you're hanging out with the wrong crowd. Now I'm just gonna ground you, and you
Yeah.
can't go outside anymore. It's
Yeah.
like we don't do any processing of like
Right.
teaching our kids what is important, what to look out for,
Right.
what are the things that are gonna.
I mean, that goes back to what we were talking about before, where certain things are glorified.
Yeah.
You being the cool, you having the Jordans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That makes you cool. And
Right.
you hanging out with the cool kids is,
Right.
what's in.
And there's consequences to that. I picked up this. I did a dog training class. Right.
Why?
I wanted to learn. It was free.
Oh, okay.
So
Was this during the Rex?
No. It was after. It was after.
He wish he did it before Rex.
Yeah. But I did good with Rex.
No,
It's just
Rex
was
yeah.
tough.
Rex was a tough.
He's a
breed.
tough breed. But the head trainer,
That was a product of John, by the way.
Yeah.
John, where you at?
The dog whisperer.
Yeah.
And one of the things he taught us was, he's like, your dog is a reflection of you.
Yeah.
And if you teach a dog to claim the house, that's what he's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you amp up. So there was one dog that was biting people.
Mm-hmm.
And he said to the one guy, he said, the reason that's happening is you take the dog out to exercise. So to that, the dog, you're hunting. You're the pack leader.
Right.
And you're that's his simulation of a hunt.
Mm-hmm.
When he gets home and he gets the treat and he's rewarded, he claims the area. So you go upstairs, he's like, fine, you go upstairs, I'll stay down here. I'll make sure
Right.
no one gets in.
Right.
And the dog starts to react. So the guy is a little aggressive. So he's like, you just taught the dog to come in, claim the house, and keep watch.
Mm-hmm.
So when someone comes in, the dog's like, who, him?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
The dog is reacting to your behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, honestly, children react to your
They do.
behavior.
You see it all the time.
If
You
you're
see
in
it all the
I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. You're driving down the road. You're somebody cuts you off, mother, and you start, I'm gonna do,
Right.
and your kids in the back, they may not do it now, but when they start driving, mother, they
Yeah.
want to.
Oh, no, they pick up on it.
and it don't work out because next thing you know, they're on the side of the road getting their ass whooped.
Mm-hmm.
Because they take it a little step further than you. You know what I'm saying? And parents are like, I never understood. No, you started that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was through that class, the guy was trying to explain emotions. The dog
Right.
is just full of testosterone.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And the dog's picking up on your energy.
He's picking up on your energy.
and deciding how do I live as your
Yeah,
beta?
'cause you're alpha.
Yeah, you're the alpha. I'm the beta.
Yeah.
Now I need to protect you, and they
Right.
learn all that from the way
Yeah.
you.
Who do you want me to get?
Right.
So the kids, in a sense, pick up on parents' behavior. They
Right.
see you arguing. Like you said, if a kid don't see his parent argue and come to a diplomatic resolution, they don't know how to solve that.
Right.
You're supposed to be the example.
Right.
And that's why even the thing with beta males is kind of BS in terms of the way we say it, because the betas now, they quit. They don't
Right.
they don't back up the alpha.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not even really.
Well,
a
nobody wants.
definition.
We live in a weird time where nobody wants to offend anybody. So it doesn't matter if it's truth or not. I just don't want to offend you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to. Rachel's the only girl here, so I want to get her opinion on the. Don't give me that look.
Richard, tell us about dogs, would you?
No, don't give me that look, because you kind of grew up. I'm just curious because you kind of grew up, in a Christian household.
Mm-hmm.
Your family was very into the church and everything. You grew up homeschooled and everything. So when you started dating, and did that influence the way you would reveal certain things?
I am a person who I think as soon as I started to so for instance, you guys were talking about raising your kids from a young age, either keeping them out of adult conversations or allowing them to be a part of the whole situation.
Yeah.
When I was born, my parents at the time didn't have a ton of other couple friends who had children. So there weren't always a ton of kids around. So I remember them having conversations, and other people who were young adults who were their age. I would always be somewhere on the stairs.
Right.
And then the conversation would go, and then, what does philosophy mean?
Right.
And then they would explain whatever that was, and they would keep it going. But from a very young age, I was always in the adult conversation.
Okay.
To a point where, like, I was 12 and people were like, "You have a really old soul. Like,
Yeah.
you're talking about things that other people aren't talking about."
Yeah.
And asking questions that other people aren't asking. So when I started to realize that all of my question asking wasn't being met with answers, but instead kind of like, this is what it is. I was like, oh, I'm good. I don't need to share anything anymore. I'll just go live my life and I don't have to tell anybody anything.
Right.
And so like now, even now as an adult human being, I struggle with being transparent because I'm like, my business is my business and I don't really know why anyone would need to know it unless...
I understand. I understand the concept of like, my business is my business. But don't you think that there are certain aspects of decision making that it's helpful to get opinions from other people? You know what I mean?
I do. I think when you're young, right, you're like the ultimate conqueror. You're like, you're 18, I got this,
Yeah,
and it's
I know
all
everything.
fine, right?
Yeah.
So now, being 29, I'm like, okay, right. So yeah, there are in the what's the verse? I can't remember it right now. Basically, around many counselors, there's safety. So anytime you have a situation where you know it's important, you should probably surround yourself with a multitude of counselors.
Right.
Now I'm starting to see the value in that. Maybe not a multitude, but a good few.
Ones that you know are worthy.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Would be a good thing to have. But the other thing is that it doesn't always translate to be your family. Sometimes it is and sometimes it's not. And figuring out who you can trust to have those conversations with, where you have to work out the shit for all intents and purposes, and then say, okay, this is what I've come up with on the other side. You can't always work everything out with your parents because your parents are your parents. So they're going to be like, this is how you did everything wrong. So I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
So,
but my point was saying that if that had been cultivated when we were younger, and I'm not saying that your parents sit you down and do the class thing, but at least prep you and have kind of introduce you to how. You know what I mean?
Especially with my parents, there were things that were like, we're fine with this, this, and this. This, and this aren't cool.
Right.
And I was like, well, that don't make any sense.
Yeah, you can't just tell me.
Yeah.
Like,
so that's fine, and I understand, and I'm not going to outright disrespect you, but as soon as I can get away from you, I'm forming my own opinions, and I'm going to live my own life, and I'm not going to come back to you for approval. And if you've clearly stated that this is how it is, then I got to go.
Right. And it's because
that's what that cultivated.
Exactly.
You haven't because you haven't connected that to reality for me. You haven't established that in a way where it makes sense with the world that I live in right now.
Right.
You just kind of set it up as, these are things that are do's and don'ts. And if you don't accept that, then we have problems. And it's like, that doesn't always work.
I think the other issue that we don't take into account sometimes too is, so there are going to be things with our parents and with our family members that we're sometimes never going to agree on.
Right.
You still have to have a relationship after that.
Absolutely.
So
you don't have to agree on everything.
Yeah.
right. But maintaining a healthy relationship where everyone can be in the same spaces and be respectful and not be scared to openly talk about their life, that requires work. That requires attention. That requires, you're my dad and you see things this way, and I'm still going to seek out a relationship with you, but I'm going to have to let you know if you say something that goes against how I'm trying to raise my son.
Right. And I'm going to avoid certain topics because I already know what kind of conversation that's going to be. Right.
So I see your value, but on some things I know we're never going to agree.
Right.
And that's okay. But I think more effort needs to go into maintaining healthy relationships in which you don't always agree with the other person.
right. And that goes back to what Jake was saying, which is kids need to see parents argue and then come to a diplomatic resolution, because they need to understand that not everything is going to go their way. So that's the beginning stages of that it's okay for mom and dad to disagree, but we're coming to a diplomatic solution.
Right. And that also teaches you that everyone doesn't agree. A good relationship doesn't mean we always agree about everything. So it's like, even in friendships, you don't, or in a couple, it's like, you don't think that if we're not agreeing on everything, we can't be friends because that's
Or
there's
love
this,
each other.
Yeah,
Do you
but I'm
want
just
you
like,
want to tell the Republicans and the Democrats this?
I mean, dude, that's what I was just about to say. There's this huge culture right now of if you don't line up with everything I think ideologically, we can't be friends or we can't have a conversation. We can't even be in the same room. You're somehow evil, and it comes from both
You
sides.
have to like I'm forcing you to like what I like.
Right. And if you don't, I'm gonna call you every evil name in the book. And that's why I wanted to ask Rachel about it, because our perspective comes from guys, and it's a little bit different, because the way we challenge our parents, it's innately it's different for us.
Yeah.
And I figured, that you would have that same approach that they have, which was just like, I'm just gonna avoid talking to you about this stuff. You know.
Which is probably close to what my sister.
That's why I asked, because I'm thinking that's the same thing.
As she was talking, I was thinking about like our mom and then my dad and how they couldn't make it work,
Right.
but how different they are in the way they raised us. My mom was religious,
Yeah.
but didn't know a lot.
Right.
She learned as she got older, but she didn't know a lot. She came from a very, very chaotic childhood. So she learned as she got older. I mean, by the time we were born,
She had
it was
no
a little-
direction.
It was a little better, but
Right.
but we were like, she learned on us.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
But then my dad was he grew up in a religious household.
Yeah.
So my grandfather was a reverend,
Right.
Baptist reverend, and my dad rebelled against that. So he did the drugs. He grew up in the
70s.
early 70s,
Yeah.
late 60s.
Musician
and-
life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we were teenagers, he's like, "Oh, you want to smoke?
Yeah.
You want to drink?
Yeah.
You can
Right.
do it, but you got to do it in front of me."
Yeah,
Right.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
teach you about this responsibly.
Yeah.
because that's what he took that approach about it.
Yeah.
You guys live
Yeah.
two different worlds.
Yes, it was like when we would go spend time with my dad. It was like a totally different life than with my mom.
You guys are driving there. It's church songs.
Yeah.
And in the house, it's Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, not Snoop Dogg, but it was definitely like Larry Graham and Marvin Gaye and all the funk stuff. And,
Yeah. But yeah, so growing up, we had both sides.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of made us see like, okay, we got to find our own way.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't into like everything my dad like. It's funny because it's like, oh, it's cool that my dad is allowing me to smoke weed and drink, but I don't really want to smoke weed or drink. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have that, but then it's like.
And that's your
Doesn't-
dad's way of like, well, they told me not to do it. I did it anyway.
Right.
What if I told him to do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
He was practicing a little reverse psychology.
It
with
was.
you guys.
It was like I'm gonna make it totally available to them, and that way they won't be out there trying crazy stuff.
Which it's kind of true.
Yeah, it is kind of true. It is.
I mean,
in a
we
sense.
never
do it.
Yeah, yeah.
But to be honest with you, like growing up our whole lives, we were never like the kids.
We
that
weren't the followers.
We weren't the
Right,
followers.
right. That's what it is.
For some reason,
Yeah,
like that was just always in us.
Yeah.
Like all the kids,
All our friends that we grew up with smoked
12, 13 years
cigarettes.
old, they're smoking cigarettes,
Yeah.
and we never
And
would
we
touch
never
it.
did it.
You know, just because it was like, just didn't want to be. I didn't want to be a part of your
Yeah.
cigarette crew. You know what I mean? Like it was just never in us to do that.
Yeah, so I think
They would be drinking. They were smoking weed.
Yeah.
13 years old.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
we just never.
I grew up in an island full of weed.
Yeah, weed everywhere. We were chopping it down. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, but I think having that upbringing kind of forced us into a place of like,
Right.
we're gonna take what we got from them, but then figure it out on
Yeah.
our own as well.
You know, listen, I always like talking to people about their childhood. I try to talk to Shaniqua about her child. She'll tell me certain things, but she really doesn't go deep into it.
Yeah,
But
kind
I
of like
think-
your sister. I think that's a woman thing.
Yeah, they don't
It is.
want to say certain things, but I like it. I like I always tell Shaniqua this. When I was bullied, I remember being bullied, and my cousin, the very one you just talked to, he told me, he said, "Listen, let me tell you something. If you don't put a stop to this is gonna keep on happening. Even if you get whooped, it's gonna happen." He's like, you even if you lose. And he told me when I come to, he said, when you get to the United States, he's like, do the same thing. Somebody hit you, hit them back. He's like, establish respect. Don't go looking for it. And I remember that, and that stuck with me. And I think those are the kind of things that I'm like, okay, well, I got to defend myself. I got to prepare myself. And I wasn't a follower. Like, when weed was introduced or certain things, I was just like, no, not interested. You know? And I think I learned how to talk about my life. Like, I learned to say, okay, where did I get this from? How did this happen?
Yeah.
I wasn't really good at it until I really started practicing these conversations. And Jamie and I would talk for hours and hours and hours and hours. So we were like therapy for each other.
Dude, I found out more about your sister through you than she would I could ever get from her. It was like pulling teeth. So it was like finding out about y'all childhood was very helpful.
I don't see that as shameful. I see that as he's a part of our family. He needs to know why it is the way it is. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then when he got to Trinidad, he put it all together.
Yeah, I got to see it firsthand. You know?
But I feel like talking about your childhood, talking about why did you do things the way you do, what happened, how did divorce affect you, how did this affect you, how you learn so much by airing that out. If you don't have some, you know, and people say, well, don't dump on me. It's not dumping if I'm asking you,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you're opening yourself, again, it's going back to you're opening yourself up to criticism. You're being naked before somebody, you know what I mean? You're not covering yourself.
Right.
So you're not trying, if you don't cover yourself, then those insecurities can go. If you always cover them, you're always going to be insecure.
Right.
Now more than ever that I have my first child, I think of when she's 16 and she doesn't think I'm the coolest guy.
Right.
And she doesn't, you know, how am I going to...
I think about that all the time. Like, how am I going to keep that bridge there where it's like we can continue to have the relationship that we have now?
Yeah.
Where it's like they worship
I know they're
me.
getting...
You know what I mean?
You know.
And it's like, but make you see that, like, I'm directing you because I love you and I'm trying to help you not make bad decisions.
How to be a good dad.
Right.
And I don't think men talk to each other, men, about saying how to be a good father, aside from laying down the law, laying down the rules.
Yeah, like,
but it's,
she shows up with a date and we got our guns out.
Yeah,
like,
I
all
hate that.
dumb
I
stuff.
hate that. I hate that with a passion.
Yeah.
That I remember seeing this thing with 50 Cent, and it was a stupid movie, but the movie was a young man going to pick up his daughter.
That same skit that's in every
movie about the dads threatening the guys, and I'm like, yo, this is so asinine.
And he brought him into the garage.
If a guy is coming to your house, how you doing, sir? And he's paying you respect, and you're gonna disrespect a young man, like, why would you do that?
Right.
And it's coming from guys who are garbage guys, like 50 Cent. Like, come on, get out of here. You are the pillar of morality. Get out of here, man. I hate that. And people love those things. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that to a young man.
But that's because that's how they are. You know what I mean?
So it's a reflection of what their own insecurity.
Exactly. Right.
They're
You're
projecting
like
because it's like they know how they are with women.
You're a pig.
And they know what they did when they were a teenager.
There you go.
So they are expecting that this is what's going to happen to them.
Your sins are telling on you.
Right.
I feel like when Sophia gets to that age, I want to come on over.
Yeah.
Let's talk. I want to meet you. I want to get to know you. You're dating my daughter. You like my daughter. Let's talk. It ain't going to be no guns, no threatening him. It's not that. But that's the rule.
Right.
You want Sophia, you want to date, I gotta meet the guy and I gotta talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a dad or a mom that's trying to be cool, it's gonna backfire very badly.
Buying your baby $80,000 in diamonds.
Oh yeah.
We talked about that earlier.
Well, I mean, like, as a teenager, because that's when.
Well, what do you think? As a teenager, it's going to be.
It's going to be
worse.
way worse.
Yeah,
80,000.
But it's easier as a kid, like as a baby, as a kid.
Yeah.
But as a teenager, it gets harder. You know what I mean? So it's easy to try to just do whatever you can to make them feel comfortable,
Right?
Because you think that is keeping your relationship good,
right?
By just giving them whatever they want.
Right. And on the other hand, you can't be so strict. But how do you be a good father? How do you be a good parent? I think it has to do with being a good son.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you be a good son? Like, you have to be, I'm speaking spiritually. You have to have a relationship with the Father in heaven. And if you can see you have a relationship with that father, you'll know how to be a father.
Right.
You'll know how to speak to your kids. And not only that, it won't be fake.
Right.
That's the point. Like what I was saying about glory, because you're staying in a place where you want to learn. You're staying in a place. That's the whole point. Being a
Right.
son is about learning. It's about coming into something greater.
Knowing that there's something for you to gain.
Right.
And always being open to, and always being in search of gaining it.
Right.
Right.
And if you're in that place, kids see that because that's youth. That's youthful.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's passion.
Yeah.
They see that passion in you. And that's what kids want. They want that passion. They go to where they see passion. And, you know, of course, there's a lot of things in this world take them to retarded places and places that, you know, fake places because it's manipulation, whatever. But if they have the real thing around them, it's a lot harder for them to go outside and not recognize the fake thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can't fake trying to be
Right.
a good father or the cool dad because it's just going to backfire.
Yeah. But that's what I was saying. I feel like men don't talk to each other men about parenting skills.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like where we talk to each other and we say, hey man, you know, like let's figure this thing out. Let's,
Right.
like I do feel like when Sophia is at a certain age, I want to help usher her. I'm not going to just leave that to Shaniqua.
Right.
I want to help usher her into young womanhood and say, hey, you know, this is your dad's perspective and I want you to have fun and enjoy yourself and all that stuff. But there are certain rules, and let me tell you this, those are life rules. Those are natural rules. And if you break them, there are consequences. I will still love you, but you have to understand these things.
Right.
And I've talked to guys, and I've talked to, I'm not going to mention their names, obviously, but I've talked to them about their daughters dating, and they're like, la, la, la.
Yeah.
I'm like, cut it out, man. You're too grown for this nonsense.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? Well, you think your daughter's never going to sleep with
Dude,
somebody?
you know how many, I'm sure you get it all the time too. And you too. Oh, get your shotgun ready.
Yeah, like,
I hear
stop
that
it.
all the time.
Like,
And it's just
why
like,
would I have to kill somebody?
yeah.
And is my daughter like? It's a reflection of like what terrible job did I do
Right.
that she's gonna bring home?
Right. Somebody that I need to kill. Yeah.
I want her to be like, no. I want her to natural instinct to be like, you're not gonna cut it. You're
Right.
not gonna meet. You're not meeting my standards or my dad's
Right.
standards. You know what I mean? It's not because this guy is scared of me.
I always try to push back when people say things because there's these things that people just assume that they have
Happy
to.
wife,
Yeah,
happy
happy
life.
wife,
These
happy
isms.
life is
The
another
isms.
one that I hear
that.
all the time, and it's like I always push back on those things because it's like, no, you're not gonna pull me into your defeatist ideologies. It's like, no,
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna teach my daughter better than that.
Yeah, she can't always be right. I remember,
And I can't always follow her around with a gun everywhere.
Right,
Like,
right, right.
She's gonna need to know how to handle herself.
Exactly. I remember being at a wedding and I was with Shaniqua and this older guy said to me, "Remember, man, she's always right."
That's another one.
And I was like,
That's another one.
No. And he looked at me like, "Ooh, you said that in front of her?" I said,
Yeah.
"How is she always right?
Yeah.
She's God."
Yeah.
I mean, I love her and everything, but she
Yeah.
can never be always right.
Yeah.
You know, what I mean?
Yeah.
I can tell you some stuff she's doing wrong right now.
Right.
But my point is, I don't fall in, like you're right. I don't fall into those traps.
Yeah.
I'm never always right.
Right.
I know she's not always
So if
right.
I'm never right, how come she's always right?
Really?
Yeah.
I know some stuff she's doing right now that ain't right. So I don't fall into that trap. You're not God, and I'm
Right.
not gonna let
Look,
those isms.
yo, it's like she hears when you talk
her
about
ears
her
ring.
because she just started watching again.
She's like, he's talking about me. But no, you're.
I think Kendra keeps texting her. He talking about you again.
no. To me, it's like I'm not gonna fall into those traps of those things.
Right, because those things don't lead to fruitful marriages.
No, they
you
don't.
see it. Like
and you know
people
what's
just-
gonna happen? Here's what women don't understand. When men do that, believe you me, that man is gonna please you,
Right.
So that way you're not suspecting what he's doing behind your back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The
I
guy-
know plenty of men who, yes, baby,
They
yes,
do
honey,
it
yes,
up,
yes.
yeah.
When she's gone,
Yeah.
yo, you clubbing?
Yeah. Right. What we doing? Where we going?
doing?
Yeah.
Let me guess, she's out of town.
Yeah. That's right. I'm free, brother. Yeah. Where we going? Yeah.
Right. Next Monday, you see him. Oh, I'm gonna get that bags for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what do they say when they get caught? Well, I just felt like
I couldn't be
wasn't-
myself.
I wasn't listened to. I felt like
Exactly.
Julio again.
No,
He's
man. And
listening,
I've
y'all.
tried to teach my sisters and teach other women. Listen, don't fall for that nonsense. Any
Yeah.
man that's wanting to please you at every rim right away,
Right.
That's nonsense.
Yeah, that was the thing that we were trying to explain that, and it's hard for women sometimes, especially when they don't have the male role model growing up, you know. And my mom is one of those people. So like with the Julio thing, it was like when he was so overly extra about
Open
never
car
letting her
doors,
open the car
flower.
door and always like sending her flowers all the time, and then we would try to school her like, Mom, anyone can do that. Like
That's
that
nothing
is
new.
the obvious things that they do in the beginning
Right.
to present themselves as this amazing person. Like
Barack
don't.
Obama.
Oh, he went there.
Right.
I mean,
But no,
But that's-
I
I'm
get what
just-
you're saying. It's like when you go out of your way to
Presentation.
present yourself
Yeah.
as an amazing guy. It's like, okay, but don't fall for that.
Yeah.
You know, let him prove himself that way.
Right.
You know,
because they
Look for the signs.
Well, that happens a lot to women because of fairy tales.
yes.
Princess, the stuff. You know
Right,
what
the
I mean?
prince that comes in and saves you, and he's it's you're brainwashed to
Right.
fall into that idea.
Listen, if you're over 30 and flowers impress you,
Right.
you're in trouble.
Yeah, Rach, remember that.
She's gonna get rid of her
I'm a
flowers.
plant person. I know all about the flowers. I have
That's
all the
right.
flowers. I don't need any flowers. So
I'm not
think
saying
of something
it's a bad
better.
thing, but when the guy comes and shows up and does all the stuff,
Yeah.
this is for I picked these
Right.
from the garden. These are for you, and you're late. I think it's like
To me, that's too easy. It's like you looked at the book of cliche things women love,
Yeah.
and then you just went down the list, and like it's like, and that worked.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's not even impressive. It's like that doesn't prove anything.
right.
You know, because clearly, I mean, look at that situation. It's like that dude is not even worthy of being a husband to someone. You know what I mean? Or
anybody can learn the tricks.
Yeah.
Anybody can.
And it's paying attention to where he came from and his environment. You really have to take that into account. You know what I'm saying? And I you know, people say don't judge a book by its cover. Well, how a book sold?
right. That's true.
Who buys a book with nothing
I
on
mean,
it?
there are certain things like I get that the sentiment of don't judge a book by
get
its
it,
cover, but if you see a book cover with if you see a book cover with naked women on it, you know what's inside, right?
Plants.
Right, exactly.
Flowers.
Like you're kind of telling me what's inside this book, so I can make a judgment on it. And there are certain things that people walk around with, and you're saying, "I know you." You know what I'm saying?
It's familiar. That's what I'm saying, though. It's like we have these cliches.
Right.
These cliches. All these isms we just talk about are isms that's meant to distract you from paying attention.
right.
Yeah.
If you paid attention, this is not no
I
mystery.
mean, come on. We all see it. And a bunch of people we know who are with these guys
Yeah.
or even girls, and you're like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know where that's going to go.
Right.
Yeah.
But they don't want to listen.
Yeah.
They
I
don't.
remember I was telling you about a situation that I got myself in about 10 years ago.
Yes.
And I was so mad. I was mad at somebody that I knew his personality. And
Y'all know. Y'all already
y'all
know.
know the story. We're not going to mention his names, you know. But I was mad at that guy because he did something that he has always been doing. He has always been doing this thing, and he did it to me. And I was mad. And then I realized, wait a second. I know this guy. I know his character. I've seen him do it. I never had any issues with him doing that to other people. He did it to me, and I'm offended. But I started realizing, wait a second. I am actually the fool because I fell for something he showed me. He showed me the magic tricks, and then I got tricked. You know what I mean? He showed me the scheme, and I was like, okay, duly noted.
Just thinking that you are.
I'm exempt.
Exactly, that's the word I'm
I'm
looking
exempt.
for.
He's not gonna
Exactly.
do it to
We
me.
always do that, right?
Yes.
We're like, it's fine, it's fine. Oh wait,
Yeah.
And that,
Exactly.
and it happens to men and women. You meet a girl who's telling you, yeah, I run my house. I tell my husband what to do, and you don't realize that she's including you.
Right.
She means you too.
So she's telling you that she's a narcissist.
Yep.
But for some reason you're like, but that's her man. I'm her friend.
No. She means
if she's
you
gonna
too.
treat the guy that gave her kids that way,
Yep.
why wouldn't she turn that on you when
Exactly.
when the time is right?
Yeah.
You know?
And I've rationalized that to my friend is willing to cheat on his wife, lie, scheme. I can't give him anything she's giving him, and that's what he's doing to her.
Right.
What is it gonna do to me?
I learned the same valuable lesson with someone that we all know and grew up with, and it's like you watch their behavior, you hang out with them, and you see all the situations they put themselves in, and you're thinking like, well, but that's them. That's not ever going to affect me.
We convince ourselves that,
right? And then next thing I know, I have to go testify in front of a detective about a rape charge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like now I'm roped in because I know this guy. You know what I mean? It's like.
Exactly.
And then that's when you come to the realization, like, I did that to myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, not only did you know him, but he used you in a way. You know.
Right.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, like,
But yeah.
yeah.
The circumstance.
You realize how you put yourself in those
Yeah.
situations
And
by the decisions.
Not
that you
only
make.
that, but he did it to you way back when the same
Henceforth.
kind of stuff. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Right.
So it's and you kind of let it go because we don't know.
Right.
That's why I just said never judge a book by its cover. That's a good cover to judge, right there.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you look at even like you see the pattern of behavior of where it's like they're never going to learn from this.
No.
So it's like I need to cut you off because
Well, they're definitely not going to learn if we keep on enabling them not to learn.
well, yeah, that's
You know
Or
what I mean?
sometimes you just have to remove. Sometimes I've learned I can't save everybody. I've learned to take off my savior hat and just leave people alone.
Right. Well, that's
Yeah.
my point. If we, because we want to help people,
Yeah.
but we're actually enabling them to stay
Right.
where they're at. And if
Yeah.
we just
I've told my
bye.
wife that. I've said, babe, you can't help everybody.
Yeah.
You can't. Because she's naturally, her personality is like, I want to help. I'm like, some people, they're not looking for help. They're looking for a shoulder to cry. You're a garbage can.
Right.
It's like, I got
Yeah.
some garbage today.
Yeah.
I had to tell her that about a couple of friends. They were just calling her to tell her the tea, tell her the gossip.
Right.
You're nothing more to them than gossip. And I was like, if you want to see if this is true, just tell them one day, girl, I'm not interested in the conversation, and see if they'll call you again.
right.
Girl, I'm not really. I really don't got time to date. I don't want to hear about the nonsense. Let's talk about something else. Ain't calling back. Why? Because you have changed the trajectory of the relationship. You know what I mean? That's what it is.
Right.
And it's the same thing with my boys. When I stopped clubbing, you met me in the early stage.
Yeah.
When I was going out DJing, clubbing, having a good time.
James was a party animal, bro.
That's right.
He had
Yeah.
his
Silk
BMW.
shirts
Had
and
the,
tight
had the
pants.
beamer. He had the
Curls.
he
What are
had
you
the-
doing on a Saturday morning? I'm waxing.
Yeah.
With
Had
the
his
white what was it,
Dominican curls.
the white pants, the
white
white
pants.
the white pants. Yeah.
White shoes. They call me Cuban Pete. I had a parrot on my shoulder. And everything. Look at Rachel.
But it was something.
Visual.
Find a picture.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny is I sent Rachel. I was telling her about having Peace come on the podcast.
Okay.
So I sent her the video, "Take Me Home," and she was like, "Is that James?" yeah. Yeah.
James wasn't.
James back in the day. Remember he was
Yeah.
in the video. Yeah.
But
What part?
That first scene where he's getting the
can't
medal
with the-
presented to him. He was one of the people.
I can't with
Julio
the-
was in that
Julio
video.
was in the video
Yeah.
too.
Julio was in it.
But like I said, I had to really look at my life and say, it's not anybody, it's you.
Right.
You're making these mistakes.
Right.
You're the one that's choosing these people. Why are you attracted to these type of people? Why you keep bringing them? Because that whole narrative that I was saying to myself, well, that's them, that's not me, I'm not like that. That's not working out.
Right.
And the only way to do it is what does God say? If your right eye offends you or your right hand offends you, cut it off. That's what I did. I said, nope, done. I didn't see no value in keeping this relationship. And that was the best thing I did for myself. Was I literally cut out the
Because
cancer.
what are they based in? What are they founded in?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And you find it out real quick.
I did. I mean, Jamie knows because I moved to Howell.
Yeah.
I was down there. I poured myself into the craft that I'm in now, where I started learning and really
This
understanding
dude
it.
got rid of his cell phone, everything. Like
Yeah,
he
man.
just totally cut the world off.
I cut it off, and I'm telling you, it was like my pilgrimage.
Yeah.
And I learned and I mastered it, and now
He got into a lot of conspiracy videos. Me and him had
Call this
a
brother.
long talk.
I said, call up Jamie. Man, can you believe it?
Nah, man, I'll be right there with him.
Nah.
Like you just finding this out, brother.
No, but what I'm saying is this. I think that a lot of time people don't self-reflect deep enough to really clean out their own house.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people are the way they are. They're not willing to change themselves. You know what I mean? And I had to do that. I was like, well, what am I doing? I'm picking the wrong girls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's Jonah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shanika was talking trash, by the way. She said you were chunky in that video, and she's cracking up.
I still am chunky.
She's
What are you
cracking
talking
up. He
about?
had some hair though in that video though. Yeah, and your sister just started watching. She missed. We were just talking about you hiding all your boyfriends. No, Shelly.
Rachel.
Yeah,
Shelly, I want to meet Tavares. Oops, I said his name.
yeah.
I meant Fred.
She's got
Tavares.
she's got a new one that she's hiding again.
She's gonna yell at me. In the morning.
Yeah. Why did you say that?
I can't believe you said that.
Her name is Rachel too, by the way.
Yeah, it is. It is. But we call her Shelly.
Rachel Garcia.
Shelly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, listen, I don't fall for any of those social cliches. I'm like anytime somebody comes up with some certain isms, I'm like, cut it out.
Right.
Like, you know, like I have a brain, I want to think for myself. That doesn't mean I'm not open to ideas, but I feel like people just go with things without asking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they just accept it as reality. Like, you know, hey, she's always right. Like I've heard that so many times. And it's like, in what world?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's because you hear it so much.
Right.
That you
But it's
start
like-
to believe it.
I love my wife. But I'm not ignorant.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And it's like, how emasculating is that? Where it's like, I need to just walk on these eggshells. Where it's like, if you don't always feel like you're right, then I'm doing something wrong. Like that's crazy.
Dude, but we are in a world of emasculation. Like to literally take the balls off of men. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? To the point where you see commercials like the transgender commercials. You know what I mean? Or women or men, I'm sorry, running in college and winning college that are men that
Biologically,
Yeah.
I saw
biologically men
Yeah.
which they
well,
know they're never gonna beat them.
that are
Well, yeah. It's,
destroying the women. And it's like
Breaking world
One guy
records.
just proved that. One guy just
yeah, the dude from the UK.
who just
The weightlifter, right?
the weightlifter.
Yeah. He broke all the women's world records, and he did it just to prove a point because
Yeah.
he's really not transgender. He just said he was going to identify as a woman to break all the records.
Yeah.
Right, and he did.
And then there was another power lifter, transgender power lifter that I think they just stripped him of his titles, or they wouldn't allow him to compete because he identifies as a woman, and they said that you have to be biologically female to compete in the powerlifting thing.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but there was like, huge backlash about this. And then the run, I don't know if you remember that sprinter from Africa that they're now telling her that she has to lower her testosterone because she has more testosterone than the average girl
Right.
because she has internal testicles.
Yeah.
And so she was like, killing everybody. And they came to this decision that like it's not fair. Like you have to at least regulate that in some way where it's like because you can't compete against women if you have like an abnormal advantage. It's not fair. And I think that's where the transgender thing.
men don't have an abnormal advantage.
What are you talking
That's what they tell you.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Men aren't stronger.
but you're completely denying biology when you say that.
Right. I mean, it's stupid.
Yeah.
And
Like,
it's a shame.
But it is funny to me when people like want to be adamant about science in certain ways,
Right.
and then completely deny science in other ways.
Right.
It's like I don't get that. I don't understand how you can pick and choose which sciences are the staple of
Right.
all understanding, and then other ones are but there's they don't understand.
Yeah.
Because there's other people that like there's another I saw on Twitter there was a dude he was talking about the psychology behind keeping gender dysphoria on the what's the list that they use for psychological disorders.
I know what you're
You know what I'm
saying. I
talking
don't
about?
remember
It's
the
like the
name
one
of
that
this,
keep.
Yeah, I remember.
So he was making the argument for like why you should keep that on there because these people will get funding for certain things, and people went crazy on this guy,
Yeah.
and he's like using scientific data to show that
It's
like
science.
it's like it's more of a psychological thing
Right.
than actual biological.
I
thing.
mean, it kind of, in a way, it's like you need to leave him because he keeps beating your ass. But you don't understand. He's a good man.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like,
huh?
no.
You kind of
Let
lost
him-
me
let him
there.
talk.
Like, explain this.
Let me explain.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that they can't see reality.
Okay.
They're so deep into wanting to believe something,
Well, they live in their own reality.
right? That they don't want to believe reality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody who
But it's
they want to, they love this man that they don't see what they're dying.
Right.
You know, a lot of it
That
ends
he's
in
gonna
death.
kill them. Right.
You know, and it's the same thing. Like, yeah, you believe this, you feel this, but it doesn't mean it's true. It's literally not reality because you're a woman or you're a man.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Are you equating someone who is transgender to being abused by?
I am talking about
How dare you?
delusions.
You will be attacked on social
I am
media
talking about
this.
delusions of factual reality.
Delusions of factual reality.
Yes.
Are you saying that transgender people are delusional
Yes.
right now?
I am saying that delusional. I have no problem saying that.
Oh boy.
I watched a documentary, and it didn't get much, but it was life after transgender surgery.
Yeah.
And one of the things they don't tell you is after the surgery, you cannot have an orgasm. Because there are such complex nerve endings that the doctors cannot reattach all of them. That
So is it like is it because I think I've heard people talking about how they can still orgasm, but
they
is
say
it the
that
same?
No, they say that, but I'm going off of.
How do you know, James?
No, I don't know that.
This is what the
physically.
documentary.
This is what the people who have
explains.
gone through the surgery,
Right.
Who have opted.
Well, there's
to,
a reason why the post-surgery suicide rate is astronomical. It's
that's
worse than anything else in the country.
right. So
in the world,
right.
really.
Yeah.
One of the guys was saying, he's like, I went through this. I wanted to do this. He's like, only to realize I could never, ever, ever have an orgasm again.
Wow.
Never. He's like, I paid for the surgery. I can't. And
Was that maybe some defect of the surgery itself? Like maybe the doctors that he went to didn't do it properly?
I mean, there always is that possibility.
Because
but
I don't.
he wasn't the only one.
I don't
But-
remember hearing like this that like that's a norm. You know what I mean?
Right.
But maybe it's just something that people don't talk about a
Well,
lot.
the people are having the surgery, but
I know the suicide thing is real.
right, the
Yeah.
suicide. So imagine if that's someone
Right.
says you're losing your penis,
Right.
and you can never.
Or if like later on in life you realize like, oh man, I shouldn't have did that.
that's probably what it is. That's probably what it is. Is that he regrets. He said, "Look, I am gay, but going through with the surgery."
Right. And they're finding that there's other studies that they were talking about that are.
And by the way, he
finding
went to another country to do it.
that- Yeah.
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
Did y'all hear that they're like giving hormone pills to kids now?
Camera 2 was gone. Okay.
No, I did not hear.
Hormone pills. They've been doing that.
Yeah.
Hormone blockers.
That's crazy though. Like a child, like a kid don't know what they want, because they're so emotional and they're,
They know
just
what they want, according to the parents.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, but you're
But they don't-
you're letting a child make a decision that's gonna affect them for the rest of their life.
Right, they don't know what they're gonna be in 10 years.
know.
You know.
I mean, you think about it. It's like, okay, do you give your kids certain things to eat?
No, yeah,
You know what I mean? Do you let them eat candy all day because that's what they want?
yeah, yeah.
It's pretty basic,
Right.
you know.
But there are always people who are willing to push the limits because they want to be on the cutting edge of history. So they want to be the first to do it. Like
But that just shows you that is a huge flaw. You know, like I want to be on the cutting edge of history. Okay, there's your problem right there.
yeah, you want to be. That's what it
I
is.
mean, like all this stuff, it's about enabling people to stay where they're at. Enabling, like you're just like that's why I said with the person who's getting beat up by a man and doesn't want to see it. Like if nobody is confronting her and saying, "Listen, you need to get out of this.
Right.
This is harming you," and they're like, "Oh no, but that's what she wants." Then when she dies, okay, you're just gonna allow it.
You're
You know?
you're an enabler.
And if you don't say anything,
Complicit,
yeah,
I should say.
complicit, yeah, because you don't want to hurt her feelings. You want to keep her comfortable, but she's not really.
That just
There's somebody that's
like the mom or the dad.
and somebody is making or ordering like a pizza and bacon.
But then you ask, like, why do they do that? So their comfort place is keeping them where they're at.
Yeah, I want to
You get what I'm
please you.
saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a hard.
That is
one.
always true because the wife and I watch that together.
Yeah.
It's always the same.
I saw it. There's always somebody bringing the
Yeah,
plate.
or with the interventions, the drug interventions,
Yeah.
same type of thing.
Right.
You always have at least like one enabler. Or, it's always the same.
Sometimes they have to send the parents to rehab too for enabling. Like there's a separate type of counseling that they go through when you are like a really bad enabler,
Yeah.
because it happens.
Yeah.
When you want to keep your kid away from sauce.
Yeah, snow plowing, snow plowing through life for your kids.
Yeah, but the hormone blocker shit, man, just blows my
I
mind.
mean, that's kind of
I don't think a lot of parents are going to do that. I think that's a couple of,
like
there's a lot doing it though.
them trying to get 16-year-olds to vote. I don't even think that they're. I don't think they should be able to vote. You know what I mean?
In
Like,
what world should 16-year-olds be making those kind of decisions?
Exactly.
You know, this is the weird hypocrisy of it, because it's like you want to tell a 16-year-old that, you can't make the decision of who to have sex with,
or smoke,
cigarettes, or be in the military or anything like that.
Yeah.
You can't. You're not old enough or mature
Barely
enough to
work.
make. So you can, like, if someone has sex, even if they're 17, if you have sex with a 16-year-old, it's considered rape. So like
Right.
but you should be able to vote though. That doesn't make. But a lot of people aren't on board with that.
No,
if
no.
you look
Yeah.
at like the polls on that, like
even Democrats.
no, they're not buying into that.
I always
think
look at I told Jamie that. I said whenever I see an article, I actually read the comments.
Yeah.
The article is one thing, but the comments
I do that
tell
all the
you-
time now.
You sent one where,
Dude,
what was it,
there was
Kamala
another one
Harris?
today, like where people will tweet something crazy. I think New York Times tweeted some crazy story, and I just immediately go to the comments, and people are just trashing them. Like, what are you doing? You know?
Speaking of that, that's where with the Aisha Curry thing.
Yeah.
Where what she said and then the backlash that she got.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The comments, people didn't like that.
Yeah.
And maybe she was trying to be as candid as possible. But it just showed that sometimes some certain things are best left unsaid.
Yeah, I think for her the reason why she brought that up is because she felt like it was okay to talk about, like, but I think there was backlash because people respect their relationship. Like people like, it's like if you found out Beyonce wasn't happy with Jay-Z, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like
They glorified
people
that
have
relationship.
glorified that
Yeah.
relationship so much. So like the Steph Curry Aisha Curry thing is like people look up to this relationship. It's like one
Well,
of
they
the
presented that way too.
That's true.
Right.
But I'm saying, like, so now that people have already put that relationship on a pedestal, when she says that, but I never get attention from other men, people are going to be like, why would you need, because it kind of makes you think like she's a woman that can never be satisfied. You know what I mean?
I mean, it does seem like that.
Right.
It does seem like,
Because what better life what more do you want? Like, what more do you want?
You got everything you need.
You have a successful husband. You have a successful life. You have a successful marriage with kids, and you are feeling insecure about the fact that you don't get to tell guys no. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think that's something that's she said it, and she was being vulnerable.
Yeah.
And that's something that you can work out. That's something you can get to the root of. It's not hard, but people are putting expectations on her that they shouldn't be putting on her,
right?
Because they're looking at her like she should live up to something.
They're looking at her like some type of something to look up to.
example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it's really. Stop looking at celebrities
That's
as
what it
as,
is.
as, as
Stop
an
looking
example.
at
That's what it is.
anybody.
That's
Like,
exactly what it is.
people get into relationships and they put expectations on.
Right.
the other
But social
person.
media is a big problem with
part
that.
of that is their presentation of the relationship.
Right.
So when you hear somebody who presented themselves as we're happy, everything's great, and then you hear inconsistencies, you're surprised at that too. So people
I thought you were going to bed, Mom. Why are you back watching again?
People reacted to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but I'm just saying that.
But the Ayesha Curry thing, I'm also sort of like, everybody just needs to like pipe down a little bit on it. Like, it's not that big a deal. It's become this huge media thing, and the reality is, she's on a table talk, which is supposed to be
like what we're
women
doing,
talking
Right.
and free speech and thoughts. And yeah, it's being broadcasted, so you obviously know that. And yeah, they promote that, so you obviously know that. But in the moment when she's talking about it, to me, I'm hearing them talk about, they're asking her purposely, well, what do you do with the groupies? How do you feel about the groupies? You know, you got all these people coming to Steph Curry everywhere he goes all the time. That's what prompted that conversation. And she did say, she was like, maybe this is an insecurity. Maybe she was like, maybe I shouldn't. Like, that was on her face before she said it. She did preface it. The point is, so you have both of them in these $1 million lifestyle. They're promoting, they're celebrities. Everybody's looking at them. He has everything that anyone could possibly want, and then also all of these plethora of options of potential partners if she messes anything up, just waiting in line. So she's on the other end saying, I also have this big mansion and all of these things. I don't really necessarily feel like I have that plethora of partners just waiting in line for me. Everybody's jumping down her neck based off of that one statement, and I'm kind of like,
because that's not the way she said it, though. She said it more. She said it more in a way of like, I'm not.
It would be nice.
Yeah, it would be nice for
for
me to tell men no.
I think she didn't say it would be nice for me to tell men no. She didn't say that at all. She said
she didn't say that.
She said I'm not looking for it, but it would. I'm not looking for a relationship. That was like more along the lines, but it would be nice to know that someone's noticing.
Right.
That's what she said.
Right.
And so,
I mean, we can watch it.
That's
we.
That's not. That's not this like far out concept that we've never like heard before. That a woman is like, oh, you know what? Everyone's over here like looking at my husband and totally thinks he's hot stuff, and I'm sitting at home with the kids and like, what am I, chopped liver? So. Should she feel that way? Maybe not. Maybe she has everything in the entire world. But she's not sitting at home.
She has a whole career built off this.
So, but this is what she's saying. Like, this is how I feel sometimes, that I have to do all of this work and juggle all of these things, and everyone's lined up for my husband. He's got all of these female options. I don't necessarily feel that same way.
I think that also is a difference. Like, you have to understand the difference between men and women's approach to. Like, there's no such thing as male groupies in that way. Like there's plenty of men probably lined up to talk to Steph Curry too, because male groupies are like, you know, they want to talk about sports and your achievements, and they want to like get, you know, one of the fighters was talking about that, how
Rampage.
he was talking about how, you know, he everywhere he goes, his dudes won't leave him alone. He's there to meet the women, but it's just dudes that want to talk to him.
So it's the attention.
Right. But women don't respect marriages in that way.
Yeah.
You know, women will still throw themselves, the groupie ones will still throw themselves at a guy who's married no matter what. You know, men don't really approach it that way.
Right. And that was and as the interview continued, that was kind of like everybody's point to her. Like, listen, calm down. It's not that you're not hot. It's not that people don't notice you. It's not that you don't have skills and you're not this bomb person.
Right.
Plenty of people want you, but as Ayesha Curry, there's going to be a lot less men sliding in your DMs saying like,
or showing up to,
you know,
or
like being disrespectful in front of Steph Curry. That's a different dynamic.
But at the same time, it's like, women take this approach where it's like, it's disrespectful for men to do that anyway. So it's like, if you're gonna have the mentality where it's like, you know, because she's tweeted in the past where it's like, all these men coming at me, they know I'm married, they need to just stop it. You know what I mean? Like, why are you doing that? Blah blah blah.
That's true.
So it's like, if you're gonna have that mentality about like men are gross, men are, you know, men need to
No, I don't agree with the double standard. Like, I'm not aware of those tweets, so I don't agree with like being on one side of it where you're like, oh, everybody just leave me alone, I'm so taken, and then 2 years later you're like, but nobody pays attention to me. Like,
I want attention.
Have a little bit of confidence that.
And there's another element. I think part of it is, I think Steph Curry presents himself as a respected guy. He's a respected guy.
Guys respect him.
I think men respect certain guys. Certain guys where I don't think whoever is dating their Kardashians, they're not, you know what I mean? They're known. Every guy's going to shoot their shot with that type of girl.
because they feel like that's something that
They
you
can
know,
get.
That's not
I
serious.
want my turn.
Yeah.
Aisha Curry presents herself wholesome, wife type, mother of 3, married to a respectable.
Their relationship
respectable
is
guy.
strong enough where there is no wedging in between that. Yeah.
Why even take that chance?
Yeah.
Why even try?
It's a wasted investment.
It's a wasted investment.
Why shoot my shot there? You know what I mean?
Right. And so that's the whole thing, right? Is that so she's on this situation where she set herself up to be America's wife, and she is, but then is also kind of feeling a little bit like in a glass box as all of the ladies are like throwing themselves at Steph Curry.
Right.
And my whole thing is like, okay, that's how she feels. Why is everybody like freaking losing their minds over it?
Because
like,
people lose their minds over
yeah,
everything.
I guess I'm over
that's
it.
one, but then it's the part of the inconsistencies too with what she
And
said.
that I can understand.
Where
So like,
people are saying, hey,
right.
you know,
That's
She
different.
She said something else where she talked about her job, and she was like, you know, sometimes I feel like I'm working and I'm his wife, and then trying to be a wife and trying to be a working mom and trying to be a mother. Should I just be a mother? It's like, okay, just be a mother.
Right.
So
Well, I don't think it's as easy as all of that, though, to say, like, okay, we'll just be a mother.
it is just as easy as that. It's easy to just make a decision and do it. That's my point. Is she's questioning things, just like she's questioning
Her worth or her attractiveness.
Her attractiveness. She's questioning, and in order to, you got to go to secure. It's what I'm saying is she's trying to find identity. You know, she's trying to find identity in working. Like, because if she didn't have identity in that, she wouldn't be questioning it.
Right, because
You know what I mean?
it's the concept of like she's putting all that on her plate because she feels as though that's what she has
And
to do to be considered a successful woman
Because
in
she's-
today's day
she's
and
in the
age.
shadow of
And
his.
I don't want to say that's a bad thing. Like, I'm not saying like she's horrible because she's doing that. All I'm saying is that all these people who are getting mad at her, they need to look at themselves, because you got to see that she's not somebody to look up to, you
Right.
know, and look within yourselves. Like, she's showing her flaws. She's insecure, and that's fine. There's stuff she has to work on.
I think that's been like kind of my point from the you
right.
know, like even before talking about it here, like people were bringing up, and I was sort of like, either way you look at it, right? However you take from her inflection or her experience or whatever opinion you form about it, there's bigger fish to fry.
Right, absolutely.
And, so
Take a look at yourself.
Right. Like, why do you feel the way that you feel, and why are you having the reactionary situation
I think
inside?
it's people jump on any opportunity to be like, oh, got you. Look at that. Look what you did right there.
Yeah, very
You know,
true.
especially when it's because and in a sense, a lot of these people, a lot of these public figures, these social media, huge platforms, they put themselves in that position because they're always talking shit. They're
On the
always
gram.
they're always saying things. They're always telling other people how, you know, inspirational quotes. This is how you live your life. You know, if you set yourself up to be
Paint yourself a certain way.
some certain like arbiter of knowledge and wisdom for everyone, when the moment comes for them to tear that down, they're gonna take it. They're gonna take it, and that's their moment with her.
They knew it was going to be big when she said that.
We're in kind of this strange place where, like, isn't that what we're all kind of like, we're all supposed to right now be like doing this thing where we're establishing ourselves, especially if you're a creative person or you have
Right.
some kind of like online presence or a following or something you want to promote. You're supposed to be promoting that, a set of ideals, philosophies, who you are.
Exactly.
But you're never allowed to like mess up.
Right.
You're never allowed to like be like, ooh, maybe I said something wrong, and now it's a year later, or now it's 6 months later, and that thing that I said wrong. Even there's not a lot of people doing that correctly, right? Like with like humility and like genuineness.
Right.
But I feel like even if you approach those kinds of things with humility and genuineness, not like we're on Twitter, like once you tweet something, that's out there. So if you have any kind of eyes on you, that can come back very quickly or a long time away, but it can come back to you. But there's no room to mess up, like you're saying. It's just like we're all out here.
Right.
We're kind of exposed. You're supposed to be promoting all of this stuff, but then if you say something wrong, it's just pitchforks. Or if you say something that people don't like, it's just pitchforks. That's not like a safe feeling. I don't
Yeah,
feel
it's
safe
not.
on the internet right now. Like,
or it's deplatforming, right? So
right. Like, I don't want to post things because what if 5 days from now I'm like, well, that's whack and everyone's going to judge me. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's this whole thing.
There is a culture right now of self-censoring on the internet because
They're trying to do it to Trump.
They're doing it to everyone. It's becoming a place where you can't, like, the internet can't be what it was anymore because people are afraid of being shut out now because everybody's doing it.
That's the point. Like, fear. You know what I mean? What is it doing? It's breeding fear.
Right. Which becomes control.
Right. And because it's like all those people who care about that, I don't want those people to be following me anyway.
Right.
You know, why do I feel like I need those people to follow me?
Well, for I'm sorry. The main thing I was thinking is this. I think that when somebody has crafted a presentation of what they want people to see about them, and then people are seeing that certain things that they say may offend or there's inconsistencies in what they're saying, I think that's what we're talking about. Is part of this is we see celebrity worship. Because as you could be worshipped today, and tomorrow you could be burning in flames.
Right.
That's pretty much how it works.
Yeah.
Like, kind of what I've noticed, I feel like celebrity when I was younger, like when I was coming up and I was 10 years old or I was like 5 or like looking at like, I don't know, whatever I was into at the time, U2 and Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, like celebrity. Now celebrity is like, you kind of almost don't want to be a celebrity because as quick as it's there, collectively the internet and everyone is trying to destroy you.
Yeah.
That's how it feels.
I think that's a good thing. You know why? Because it's right in front of your face.
Right.
It's not behind closed doors anymore.
It's not smoke and mirrors.
Right.
It's not this fantasy
because
that Hollywood has always been and
Right.
celebrity has always been. Yeah.
And it shows you, like, do you want to be a part of this?
Right.
What are you building yourself up on? You know, what is your foundation? And
And the girls
what are you
she's
building
insecure
on?
about are Instagram models. You won.
Right.
You won. You have a good husband. You
Right.
have a life. The people who are trying to get attention, they're at best, they're just a bunch of groupies. You won. You have it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'm driving the Ferrari and people are taking pictures of the Ferrari, who won? You know what I mean? So I think that a lot of people just don't understand. Like,
But I just want to speak to, it's a good thing that stuff burns down.
no, I see what
You
you're
know what I
saying.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's a good thing because you're getting rid of all the stuff that shouldn't have been there in the first
Or
place.
the worship
Yeah.
culture,
Like
Yeah.
Notre Dame.
or paying attention.
I mean,
Symbolism.
I mean,
Symbolism.
in a way, you know,
Right.
because you create these beautiful things and you look at it and say, "Oh, look what I did." What does it really mean if it doesn't?
Right. What was the
Encapsulate
purpose?
the
What was
point
the
of-
purpose of it in the beginning?
Yeah.
And then you look at all of the other stuff that was going on there. You know.
Yeah. If it doesn't have what it was supposed to have in the first place, it's an empty shell
Right.
of a thing. You know, and that's what a lot of these, we're building empty shells of a thing.
Right.
And then upset that they're burning down. Burn it down. Let it burn.
I feel like we wrote a song about
You
that.
did.
Like the
Like that. Here it goes. Yeah, check out Burn on iTunes right now. Spotify, all that good stuff. We can plug our music from time
Stop
to time.
worshiping celebrities.
Yeah. Stop worshiping celebrities. Stop looking at them as examples
Stop
of
worshiping Queen B. Beyonce.
And I think my whole thing is too, like, people are meant to be out here promoting themselves. Like, she's a cook, of course she's gonna like
Right.
promote her as a chef and her family. Like, that all makes sense. So be a little less like emotionally involved.
Right.
Like, you can like people,
Please
you can
be
think they're
less
cool,
emotionally
you can think they're beautiful, you can like, you know, like
Right.
heart all the Instagram pics, but when something happens that is like a little less than stellar, yeah, that's gonna happen,
Right.
and that's life. I think
'Cause
that's
the people are humans
We're a little
at the end of the
starstruck,
day, yeah.
and we could like, with as much as we know about the internet, I feel like there's no, it's a little ridiculous.
It's very ridiculous.
You know, like,
yeah.
calm down.
We've definitely reached this chaotic point in the internet where it's like you can see that there's this. We're on the verge of something.
Yeah.
But we also
happening.
love the tea. Like, I'm guilty of it too. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
we all want to see oh wow, something crazy happening. So
Yeah.
like check yourself a little bit. Pay attention to the clickbait that's getting even you, and like it
But she has
doesn't
but
matter.
At the same time, though, people have to understand that when you expose yourself and you are being vulnerable, you're subject to good
Scrutiny,
and bad.
yeah, all
That's
kinds of
just
stuff.
that is what it is because you put yourself on that platform. So you said I'm going to go talk about it.
No,
it's
I
not
agree.
like you're being vulnerable in a room and that camera caught you. You've said that.
I agree.
And that there is another thing to be said about like this push, because a lot of people want the spotlight, and she's one of them. You know what I mean? Like, because there's plenty of NBA wives that you never hear about, right? But she's one that
No, she's made a
wanted-
decided power couple effort.
Yeah, and she's decided to insert herself. Because I remember past, playoffs or things like controversies that happen with the team, and she's inserted herself into the conversation. And it's like once you decide to do that, and then people are gonna comment on you now as a public figure. Like, you
Right.
have to take the good with the bad. You have to you have to be willing to, because you decided, like, it's like any of us that are doing what we're doing. Once you reach a level, and I see it all the time with like people that want celebrity so bad, they want to be a star like a Lady Gaga or something, and they'll do whatever it takes, and then you see them they get everything they want, and then they're complaining about it. It's like, this is just too much, it's crazy, you know what I mean? I don't have no time for myself. This is what you wanted.
Because it's never what it seems.
Exactly. It's never what it seems. But
Find my way.
another song we wrote. But
Here it goes.
but so you have to be able to be realistic about that, and know that it's like the relationship thing we were saying, or like, it's you chose this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it's the same thing with marriage too. Like, I think a lot of people get into marriage or whatever it is, relationships, and their expectations. That's my whole point about this.
Right.
Is that we all have these expectations, and whenever it don't turn out the way we expect it to be,
Yeah.
we're disappointed.
It's like you're a girl who was attracted to the dude because he was in head to toe Gucci, but then when you find out he's terrible with finances, you want to get a divorce. It's like, I'm just saying, like, the dude lives at home with his mom, but he's head to toe Gucci, and you're like, this is the guy for me. And then y'all get married, and then he's terrible with money,
He's buying
and
Gucci.
you're like,
About
this
that
is an
Gucci?
argument thing. Now we're arguing.
You knew
about
I was
this.
about that Gucci.
But it's like you didn't look at that as something. You knew I was about that Gucci.
But it's
But
true.
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you didn't look at that as a red flag to say,
Right.
maybe you don't have certain things in order. You looked at it as like, ooh, look at his swag. You know what I mean?
You obviously looking at the wrong thing.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's like, then when you're in it, it goes to the
complaining
same
about
thing.
it.
It's like you looked at celebrity for, oh, look at the life, look at the amazing, you get to travel, you get to do this, you get in the spotlight, people love you, but you're not looking at
Listen,
the
what does being a woman have to do with makeup? High heels, long hair. Does that have anything to do, Rachel? Does that have anything to do with being a woman?
Kind of long hair has always been a woman thing, I think.
But it doesn't define you as a woman, does it?
I think it doesn't. Like the wording, right? So no, it doesn't define you as a woman. What does it have to do with being a woman? That becomes a more complicated conversation, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not just like yesterday high heels and long hair and these things, popped up from a very young age. Like, I was getting stuffed in the princess dresses for
Right.
piano recitals
Yeah.
at 5 years old.
But
and
it's
the long hair,
programming.
right? And so like yes, but at the same time, well, how do you separate it?
Yeah,
And
you're saying
Right.
you're basically saying that gender is a social construct. So
look at his face.
Look at his face. you're basically making the argument that gender is a social construct. I mean, you just said, what does all that stuff?
What was the next point after
what
that,
I'm
Jake?
saying is that
How does this tie into what we were talking about?
I'm saying that being a woman, you don't have to have any of those things.
Right.
But
What do you have to have?
a vagina,
A vajayjay.
right? I mean, you have to have a womb.
Okay.
I mean, you don't have to if something happened,
Right. If
but
it's an
well, now-
abnormality.
but
Yeah.
I mean, logically, statistically,
Biologically?
you gotta have a womb.
Okay.
You know, that's what a woman is.
Right. I know.
You understand
I know
what I'm
this. But I'm trying to get to the point.
You know what? I don't even remember what I was saying. At this point, I'm done.
Because we were talking about celebrity
Right.
and people that
The construct.
put themselves into that position, and then you went.
Oh
straight
no,
to-
because we were talking about realities,
right.
right? And
Okay.
the reality isn't that. What I was saying is that it's not a reality. Just because you do a bunch of these things doesn't make you a woman.
Right.
You're a woman because you were born a woman.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And so it's the same. Like everything you guys are talking about, it's the same thing. It's like it's insecurities within ourselves, and we want to try to be these things that we see.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whether it's transgender, whether it's a woman that just feels like they got to be a certain thing because or they're in front of the spotlight as a celebrity or whatever. It's what's being put on them. You know, with the programming that we're under.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not who we really are. And we have to get to the deeper things. And if you're always stuck in this programming, you're not never going to get to those deeper things that truly show you who you are.
Yeah, I think that's what we were saying.
Okay.
Like, you know,
that's what I was saying.
Oh, okay. But it was
He
just
was
a
agreeing
weird.
with you.
It was a weird way to. It was kind of a weird way. The way
It's not. But
Well, it was tough to see where that was going.
Well, let me ask you a question. Is there anybody? I'm sorry. Is there anybody that you, celebrity-wise, that you guys, when you were younger, you admired? To touch on celebrityism,
Admired?
like you're like, I would love to meet them. They look awesome, or whatever.
Probably like Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee.
he was already dead, though.
I know. But
All the
it's
people
not-
I wanted to meet were dead. Marvin Gaye,
Right.
Yeah,
Bruce Lee.
I can't think of anyone else that like I ever wanted to meet.
Right.
Yeah.
When-
That's the problem. We grew up around like semi-celebrity.
You guys aren't impressed by anything is the problem. And that's always been the problem.
No, we just grew up around it, so it's like not as we weren't into the whole glitz and glamour thing. You know what I mean?
But when did you?
I
get
didn't
to-
grow up around it. I never really wanted to meet anybody
Yeah.
like that.
When did it hit you that you were like, I don't want to meet anyone, or you know what I mean? Because when you're a kid, you're like, oh man, it'd be nice to meet, like, you know what I mean?
I never. Maybe like sports people.
yeah.
I think like.
For boys,
Yeah, I think like that. Those
Yeah,
were the
maybe
only people.
sports.
But even that was just like, oh, that would be cool.
Like
but
if
it
I
was
met
never
Michael
like,
Jordan,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
Yeah.
It's
you
not,
wanna-
it wouldn't be like an amazing thing to me.
Yeah.
all right. Where I'm going with this is this. You wanted to meet those people because you want to go tell other people you met that person. You know what I mean?
Okay, I got you.
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
it's about the story. Yeah,
It's about the story.
right.
Women want to take Steph Curry from Aisha so they could tell other people.
I'm the one.
I
Right.
did it. I
Right.
took down.
I'm the one.
I'm the one.
that was good enough.
I was
to
he,
get.
He
Yeah.
had it all, and I took it
Well,
down.
that's the main reason why women want to be with celebrities in the first place, or
'Cause that's the story.
a man of status in any way. It's the hierarchical system that
Right.
like it's if you put like a test group of guys and women of any situation, and there's a social class there, a hierarchy there of like it could be the best fighter or the best singer or the best dancer, the women are always going to be attracted to the best one because it's like he in that group he
He's the
is the
alpha.
leader. He's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
alpha.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like the woman who gets the alpha validates them as the alpha woman. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's like that's
won.
why she wins because she's now the best of the
Right.
women.
He
You know what I
chose
mean?
her.
He chose her.
I
So
don't-
it's
yeah.
like that's why women are attracted to celebrities or rich guys. Or
and I think that's what it is. I think many of those girls would love to displace. Those girls don't even know that if they did that, they would be hated in
Right.
society. There would be no way they could go be like, "Hello, new Aisha Curry.
Yeah.
come on in." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? She would be hated if a woman if you caused Steph Curry to cheat you would be shunned.
Right.
You know.
What's the Kardashian Jordan whoever
Jordan something.
Jordan
yes, I know what you're talking
something,
about.
but like that's the boat she's in right now.
Right,
like
right.
you're just a problem.
Right.
Society is like
Yeah.
look at
Right.
you.
She totally has been
I don't even
banished
know.
from
Right.
the.
I have no idea
the
what you're
you're
talking
talking
about.
It's one of Kylie's friends slept with the other one's sis boyfriend.
Not even like necessarily slept with, but like there were rumors
right. I don't
of
know.
seeing things here and there, but like it was like freaking national news for like
Yeah.
weeks. Like people are still talking about it.
Yeah.
And she actually came on the Red Table Talks too because the Smiths are close with her and have been forever. So they gave her a
On-
platform to tell her story, like to be like, this is what had happened.
And it didn't help.
I think it helped because now, instead of people just being like, "Boo,
Yeah.
she's a hoe,"
Yeah.
then there's another side to the story.
Right.
So yeah, it always helps to get her side of the story out
I'm gonna
there.
use that.
What was her side of the story?
I
was drunk. I was drunk.
Right, like,
and I didn't know, and he just, it was him.
There's a penis on the couch.
Right.
It's his fault. It was rape.
Yeah.
and tears.
Yeah, and a
So.
lot of tears.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think that.
I don't believe any of it. Like when you
Yeah.
see things like that, I'm like, all of it's made up. Like
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you guys just lie. You get up there and you lie.
and they create storylines and to keep
Tea,
the show.
the tea, more tea.
The show's got to continue to be relevant. Like it can't get boring ever. So
So
it's
that
like,
happened 4 months ago, and now I think the show
It's
is
airing
just
now.
airing
That's why
that
it's still
stuff.
back in the
So
news,
it's all
yeah.
hype and
Yeah.
like, come on.
Tune in this
Yeah.
summer.
Right, you get to see what happened for real after the
best-
production crew mics everyone up and gets the lighting perfect.
This is not made up.
That's the thing that cracks me up about all these reality shows.
And the script is revised 17 times.
Like because it's like when you watch like the clips from like Love and Hip Hop or Housewives or anything, it's like they always meet at some restaurant and they have a conversation that ends up in this big blow up fight, or like they meet up. They go to someone's apartment and he's with another woman.
Yeah,
it's
it's all
like,
a
yo,
setup.
but and I tell people this all the time. Like, do you realize that they had to mic them all up ahead of time and set the lights up, and the production crew had to be there, like literally putting
This is not
lavalier
happening naturally.
mics. Yeah, they had to literally put lavalier
And the
mics on
camera's
everyone.
already in there.
The camera's there, waiting for them to approach.
Right.
Do you see the multiple angles? There's one from their angle and one from the other angle.
they're catching this.
They know that
Remember
this
we were talking about Peter Gunn?
Peter Guns, Peter
Gunn?
Props.
Peter Props. Every scene he had like a guitar, he had a drum.
Yeah, he
To show his musical ability.
He would have headphones. He has a laptop. Yeah,
It's like, get outta here.
Every
You're not playing
scene
no
is about
guitar.
him promoting himself as
He
a
can
musician.
sing. He's a rapper. It's
Yeah.
like, stop it.
But it's like people don't understand.
They're fooled by it.
Because they don't have the inside understanding of like how TV and production works, so they don't realize that like, oh, if this was actually real, the audio would suck. The video, the lighting would suck. It would
The
just
camera guy would be running to
wouldn't
every room.
Everyone wouldn't have immaculate makeup on all the time. Like,
What are those Cheaters episodes from back in the day where it's
Oh.
just like straight TV trash,
Yes.
but like more like that,
Yes.
where like
That-
you're just
that
trying to
was
show
reality.
up and there's 6 people
Right.
and it sounds
Right.
like crap and the
6
dude's running through the
5
bushes.
people are blurred out over here. And
Joey
this guy,
Greco.
yeah.
Joey Greco
That's
chasing
live
them.
TV.
Joey Greco was the best.
So
he was like,
you thought that romantic nights were sleeping with another woman in your Chevrolet. You want to explain that?
yeah. Do you want to explain why? Do you want to explain why you're here with 2 men with dildos? Like he
a
would just,
goat.
yeah, and a goat.
That's reality.
Yeah, and the audio will always be terrible.
Or when he got stabbed, he got stabbed.
Oh, he got stabbed
Yeah,
by
I forgot he
someone.
got
Yes. Yes,
I would ask him question. Oh, God, this is reality.
that's reality.
That was in a boat, right?
Yeah,
He got stabbed
he got
on a boat.
stabbed on a boat. But that's the thing. Like, and I think if people understand that, like, if people realize, like, oh, this is all set up, this is all fake. You
It
know,
is.
this is
It
all
is.
scripted. Like, it's
Yeah.
nothing like that would ever be able to be caught like that in real life.
Right. Yeah.
But people think that it's real, so they tune in all the time. They're watching it, and they're captivated.
Right. And then there's another
They're
part of
entertained.
this to end the whole Aisha Curry thing because I'm over it. But I'm
Yes.
just saying, there is a thing to me, and it's like whole culture, groupie culture.
Yes.
You guys remember what's that girl, Karen Stephan, Superhead or whatever she was called?
Yeah, I remember
She wrote an
Superhead.
elaborate book about sleeping with rappers and
Yeah.
she was
And
listing
everyone
penis
was
size
talking
and all
about-
that. and where's that girl today? She is nowhere to be found.
Didn't she like marry some like plain Jane dude or something like?
I don't know. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying
I don't know, man. Whole culture can get you something. Look at Cardi B.
but it's for a season, is what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't
Yeah.
last long.
Yeah.
It's for a season. So that's what I'm saying. It's like,
I mean, she just gave her baby $80,000 in diamonds. We talked about that earlier.
she's doing very well.
What, Rach? She had something to say,
Say
about
something.
that.
Say something.
Rach.
I think like so whole culture. So I think
She's doing air quotes.
I'm
'cause
doing
y'all
air
can't see her.
quotes, yeah. We are coming into this phase where not everybody, right? Like I agree with you. Like there's going to be like a lot of Instagram models here who like one day Instagram's going to crash for 2 weeks and that's going to be it for them,
Right.
and it's going to be over.
There was, but not to cut you off, but there was a story that I saw, and it's hilarious, about a girl who was like lost her mind because they deleted her Instagram
I
account.
think you sent me that, maybe.
I
or
may
just
have.
talked
And she
about it
was
or
an
something.
Instagram
yeah.
model,
And she's
and
like,
her
"What
whole
am I
life was
supposed to
over. I have to get a job now.
Right.
I can't get a job. It was hilarious.
But we are in this weird sort of situation where you can take very blatant sexuality, use it for profit, and then like it's not so much like you're a little bit frowned upon. There are people who are gonna talk about that and they're gonna be like, you're blatantly sexual, you're a hoe, you're a stripper, all these
Right.
things. But even so, with that happening, you can continue to grow that.
Yeah.
And you can make longevity. Like it's not just going to be like, well, in 3 years everybody's going to forget about you. And our culture is like feeding that. Like be out here, be a little hoe, and then like continue that. And unless you're dressed and acting and doing all these kind of things, maybe you're not even successful. That's kind of like, especially with young people doing their thing, what I see.
Right.
Like the sexuality and the whole culture is all sort of tied together. It's not like, oh, okay, they're clearly shunned. It's
Yeah.
like, no, use this
Yeah.
and then keep growing it as
mean,
much
she
as you
literally
can.
Turn it into your
says in a
brand. You
song.
make a brand out of it.
Exactly.
There's a roadmap
Exactly.
to it.
Brand is the end point of all of this. Is eventually it just becomes
Yeah, she just
branding.
did
Yeah.
Cardi B just did a Pepsi commercial. But what I'm saying is this: do you have a right to be offended when you promote yourself as twerking, having a good time, and you go somewhere and that one guy, maybe 90% of guys act noble, but the one guy who wants to grab and touch because you've promoted that. You know what I mean?
It's like the Dave Chappelle joke, right?
Yes.
Well,
How dare you?
Because
Yeah.
I dress like a stripper
Yeah.
don't mean I'm a stripper.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like, are we saying, guys, stop touching the hose? Hoes are not meant to be touched; they're meant to be admired. Are we saying that now?
I think first of all, everybody needs to keep their hands to themselves, right? So
I agree with that.
when we're raising folks,
of
whether it
course,
be men, women, whatever.
Right.
No, I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
James, but just as a general rule,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, 50 years ago, things were different.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I've worked in bars where there are people who come up to you and talk to you, and then there's different people who come up to you
Yeah,
and
who
talk
wants
to you.
to
And
touch
I'm like, your face alone tells me that we have problems
Right.
right now.
You're
And
not
I
window
have
shopping.
I have to say things to make sure that you behave as a normal human being. Because if I give you any indication that what is in your head is okay, you're gonna act out
Escalate
upon
on
it.
that.
He's
right?
looking for okays. Yeah.
So I think there's an issue. I think boys and girls coming up need to be way more respectful about everyone whom they admire, women included,
Right.
who will often be in situations where plenty of times I was general managing a bar and I would have male staffers who women are touching them all over, walking right up to them, got their arms all up in their nooks and crannies. And like, just
We've
because
dealt with that for years.
so like guys can be a handsome dude, and just because you're a girl doesn't mean they want you touching
Right.
that. So I think that's the first piece. And the other piece is there is a huge lack of responsibility when it comes to how we present ourselves. And I'm not
Yes,
just
I agree
talking
with that.
about
Yep, yep.
what you're wearing, because you can wear a very short pair of shorts, but present yourself in
Right.
a way. It's not always about the articles of clothing, what you're wearing, what kind of jewelry you have on. All of those things play into
Some
it.
articles of clothing do fall under the presenting
Absolutely, it's
certain
not
things.
But what I'm saying is like it's not just about the articles of clothing.
Absolutely.
It goes way deeper than that. And often the whatever you're wearing is a reflection of what's going on inside. And you're trying to say, this is how I want to present myself to the world, so this is how I'm going to dress. Think about the presentation situation first. Take responsibility for how you're presenting yourself to the world, how you talk, how you dress, how you walk, how you interact with other people. Like, women need to do that. Men need to do that. We don't do that enough. We don't teach, I think, young people that that's really important. Like, when you want to make friends, when you want to have a partner, when you want to get a job, how you walk into a room and present yourself really matters.
Right.
There needs to be responsibility for that.
Because they're looking at Cardi B and they're saying,
That's the
how come I
roadmap.
not get some money?
Yeah.
Like, I'm-
And so that works for Cardi B right now, right? That's working for Cardi B.
Yeah.
But if I walk down the street and do what Cardi B is doing, everybody's going to be like, this crazy girl is
Right.
out here with her no clothes and what is happening? She's
Yeah.
talking like
And
that's
guys
not,
are going to think,
that's
oh,
not
you-
gonna
you-
that's not gonna
you-
work.
Yeah, you want a
You
certain
couldn't go
thing.
out at nighttime and dress like that because you know what would happen. You know, if you went out, if a woman went out at nighttime dressed in that way, you can't guarantee that some drunk guy who has no respect for women is gonna, you know,
You're creating an environment
Yeah.
for the worst to happen.
It's like
Causality.
if you're like, because women want to act like that they should be able to do that and that it shouldn't matter. Which in fairy tale land, yes, I agree with you. But we should also be able to walk down North Camden with $1,000 flashing in our hands and not get robbed. You know what I mean? When you put yourself in a position to be victimized, sometimes you have to think about like
you might get victimized.
yeah.
I'm not for, just taking no responsibility and saying, okay, yes, obviously if a woman is walking down the street with no clothes on, nobody should walk up to her and touch her, rape her, violate
Right.
her in any kind of way. But the reality is that's not the situation we're really talking about. We're
Right.
talking about nightlife. You're talking about people trying to find partners. You're talking about people exploring their sexuality. You're talking about influences like alcohol and drugs being involved.
Right.
So don't talk about a situation out here like to
And we're
left
not
field
even-
somewhere in the
but
air.
we're not even talking.
Like,
We're not even talking about rape, which is terrible. We're talking about girls who present themselves in that way, but then don't want to even be approached.
Right.
Don't even want to be looked at. Don't even
Right.
want to be talked to in a certain
Right.
way,
And that's-
or only by the guys that they deem approved.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like that's where it's like you can't have
you
it
can't
both
control it.
ways.
I think that's the end of my point is
Yeah.
that you put we're not talking about this like, oh, okay, anybody should be able to walk down the street and not be touched. We're not talking about this obscure
Right.
thing. We're talking about human interaction that's happening among young people and and even not young people, everybody who is out here trying to interact with other people. And if you present yourself in a certain way, don't think that you're exempt from consequences
Right.
of what other people are going to decide about you.
yeah, right,
You're here on earth.
right.
That's kind of how I feel about it. Like, you're right. You can't have it both ways and say, okay, well, I get to do whatever I want, but then I don't want to deal with any of the consequences of doing whatever it is that I want. And everybody has to adapt to me. That doesn't really work.
I want to be able to get only the attention that I want to
Right.
get. It's like
That's a whole other layer of it too. A whole other piece of,
Yeah.
taking it even deeper.
Patrice O'Neal
The double standard.
used to tell this joke about you ever hear about when he talks about how women are so messed up because he was like it's like you take a men who are bears and you put them in the middle of all of these salmon and they have to be around salmon all the time and salmon just the salmon are just rubbing up against them and like they just have to smell the salmon
It's
and
true.
they have to look at the salmon but I could never taste the salmon. You know what I mean?
used to have
I
that. I
gotta
used to
work
have-
with salmon. I gotta go to the club and the salmon is coming around me and being all nice and stuff. It's like
I've been in situations where women have given me awkward massages.
yeah,
Coworkers
Right.
that I couldn't give to them.
right.
that I couldn't come up to them and be like, hey, like.
Yeah,
and
this
you-
is why I'm like, nowadays, just keep your hands to yourself.
But I'm just
Don't
saying,
touch anybody.
but
Yeah, like a woman will come up to you and be like, "Hey, James," and like, but you do that to them.
Yeah, I would be creepy.
You almost touched a boob.
You be creepy Joe.
I remember one time this lady did that to me, our manager, and then she left me a cake and a note. I was like, what the hell is going on? I was like 22 years old. And she just gave me this like long story about like she would rock my world. And I was like, no,
What?
He's like, "No, thank you."
I gotta go to church. But I'm just saying, I feel like sometimes people are inappropriate because of the way somebody presents themselves. And those girls, those Instagram models, you
They
cannot
normalize it.
Yes, you can. What you're doing is not a guided missile. That's a scatter grenade.
Yep.
And you're gonna hit. There's a lot of shrapnel
Yeah.
that comes with that. It's not like you're like, I want to target the 6'2", really good looking guy over there.
Lots of money. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Or
No.
I want to target a modeling career. It's
Yeah,
like
you're getting Lamont.
you're gonna get some
crazy
porn
dude, too.
You're gonna get some porn offers at the same time.
You know,
like it's not.
like you can't control that.
Yeah.
You know.
And on that note,
On that note,
we
what?
kind of late.
Jake's ready to wrap it up.
Jake's wrapping it up.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wrap it up, box.
11:08.
Wrap it up. Oh yeah! Wow, dang! 11:08.
Yeah.
All right.
2 hours and 36.
Cool.
Well, for not having a lot of topics today.
Yeah. That's why we don't need a lot of topics. That's what I'm saying. Like, just let the conversation go, man. It doesn't need to be so structured.
yeah.
We
It's
talked
good,
about
it's
some.
good to hear Rachel get into it.
I
Yeah,
like it, man.
you got
I
into
like
it a
it.
lot
I
today.
didn't want to say nothing. I didn't
Come
want to
on,
say
Rach.
nothing.
That's
today.
why we needed-
I wasn't in the mood today. Just had a long
you got it
day.
out.
I didn't want
Really?
to say anything.
Was it a long day?
It was a long day.
Do you want
It
to
was
talk
one of
about
those.
it?
No.
Got another hour.
We can help you. We can help you get through it. We just talked about how we need to lean on each other and use each other as.
That's what James was saying when he was talking to you in the late night sessions. He's like, it's good to have a person who can give you all the angles, but not tell you what to do.
Yeah.
And my mom has a psychology degree. I'm like, that's a psychologist.
Yeah.
That's like the exact definition.
yeah.
What are friends for?
Yeah, we used to talk for long. We used to sit up till like 4 a.m. talking about all this crazy stuff.
And that's how you figure out things, though.
Yeah,
You know, because sometimes it's like I could talk to you, and maybe like a month later, I'm like, oh snap, that's what that means.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yep.
Figuring things out, like, you know,
That's why we're here. That's why we're doing this. That's why we're doing the
we're having
podcast.
our group therapy session.
Yeah. And you guys get to watch us do it.
Sit in a circle.
And yeah, you get to chime in and ask questions if you want.
We need
And-
to have more. We need to have more women. Come on.
I know, man. We've been talking about it. Rachel's gonna come do it next. Was it next week?
No, after you guys come back.
Oh, after we get back
Yeah.
from Grenada. She's gonna. Carter's gonna produce. Rachel's gonna be a guest on.
You should come through for that one if you can, James.
Yeah.
I will.
Maybe you could squish you on the table. all of us.
James was, man, we're all fit.
Yeah.
This is a family thing, man. I wish we had like a bigger table.
Yeah.
Because we could definitely fit as many people as possible. We got a lot of inputs there. But yeah, so it was a good one. Thank you guys for watching. Again, make sure you like, make sure you share the video, help us out. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube and follow us on Instagram. And like the Facebook page too. And go to the Patreon, patreon.com/YoungLionTV, and support the podcast. If you guys have any ideas for guests that we should talk to, hit us up, send them to us, DM us, whatever, and we can try to get them on. We want to talk to interesting people who have different perspectives than us. We like having debates. We like talking to people that totally disagree with us. That's always fun too. So yeah, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. We love you. We'll see you next week. We out of here.
Young lion go live, yeah. Young